lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody, welcome to the PWCC Premier Auction Extended Bidding Watch Party. It is Thursday night, October the 20th, 2022. My name, as it says right over there, is Jeremy Lee. I want to shout out the basketball card fanatic and our co-host editor-in-chief, Adam Gray. Go to bcfmag.com to check that out. Subscribe to the magazine. I'd like to thank all podcast listeners, all YouTube viewers, subscribers. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please take a moment and do so. Also want to let everybody know, if you will be in the Montreal area, October 29th and 30th, I will be at the Anti-Expo show. Hope to see you there. We'll also be at the Toronto Expo from November 10th to 13th. If you can get there, come on down. Two amazing shows. Oh, actually, I shouldn't say about Montreal. I've never been there. I'm expecting an amazing show, but the Expo is awesome. Come on out. Hope to see you there. With that, let us bring out our co-host of the evening, Adam Gray, editor-in-chief of Basketball Card Fanatic, content creator at PWCC. Adam, how are you?
Dude, I'm great. I always say it's the best night of the month. I think it's the biggest night of the month for the hobby. And this auction, Jeremy, I've spent I don't even know how many hours looking at different things. I'm just excited. It's great. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, I wanted to take a minute and just before we talk about the Premier Auction, I wanted to ask you. It's been about 30 days since we last convened here for this program for the September auction. That means that 30 more cards from the PWCC Iconic Top 100 list have made their way into the hobby ecosystem, out into the hobby sphere. How have these last 30 or so slots on the top 100 been received by the community?
Well, the great thing about every card on the list is that there are people who are really excited to see it where it landed. And then the bad thing is that there are people who like their sort of segment of the hobby the most and feel like they've been wronged. And right. I think I told you last month, nobody's happy. And the reason that nobody's happy is because there are a lot of iconic cards. If we could go back and do it again, I think we would have started the initial ballot with maybe 300 to 400 cards. And it's just so many to choose from. So, I think it's going especially well. I think there's a lot of people who are really enjoying it, engaging, arguing, finding it all sorts of entertaining and educational. And that was really our goal. We wanted it to be both entertaining and educational. And, with only 27 cards left to go after tonight, there's not really a whole lot of surprises left, but the order is what's interesting. I mean, when I ask you, Jeremy, how would you compare the Jackie Robinson Leaf, which I know is one of your favorite cards, would say the Jordan PMG? Like, how should those two compare to each other in terms of how iconic they are? People's faces sort of turn blue as they try to figure it out. It's a hard question. And for those of us who filled out the initial survey, we had to make those hard decisions. And the whole of the list is just taking everyone's lists, aggregating them. And what's fallen out has been really interesting and fun. So which of those two cards would you have higher, by the way? The Jackie.
Listen, I'm going to start by saying I was a respondent. I did get to fill out the ballot, and I'll be honest with you, I did not enjoy the exercise because it was so hard. How can you compare a 48 Leaf Jackie Robinson 1948 to 1997 Michael Jordan? I mean, there's 50 years in between, different sports, different players, both hugely iconic. You can't compare. So I do enjoy the polls you're putting up on Instagram. Which one would you have ranked higher? I enjoy that. I'm sure you're getting a ton of engagement from that. But and it's also fun to see cards from the list in the Premier Auction. I wonder if you'll have that top of mind tonight and can maybe call out and say, hey, by the way, this card ended up at number, or so far, because we don't know the top 27, but we know the bottom 73 so far. Where did they land? It's fun. Keep it. And the other thing about your comment about next time, if we could do it all over again, we would have done 300 cards. You can do it again. You can do it again in a couple of years. So I want to let everybody know we will have a special guest joining us in about an hour's time. Sean Price is his name. You can see him on the bottom of your screen. He's on Instagram as @NW_cardboard. I met him at the Del Mar show last weekend. Great guy. We actually did a deal together. His showcase was filled with beautiful cards. So I'm happy to have him on and introduce him to the audience. I think we'll enjoy that. He'll be joining us a little bit later. We mentioned in the pre-show on Instagram just now, Adam, this month's Premier Auction has the most lots yet. I believe we are 17 or so months into the Premier. We've covered each and every one of them here together. And this one has 439 items. Last month had 436. We're almost the exact same amount. Only 3 more this month over last month, where the month before, being August, it was like 240 something in there. So we went from 240 or so to 436 to 439. Very consistent in the last 2 months. Does this consistency between September and October, Adam, does it tell you anything about the market at all?
I don't know if it does. I think that the fact that it was really consistent is honestly kind of just sort of something that happened. Would it shock me if next month it was down in the 300s? No. Would it shock me if it was in the 500s? No. It's about providing liquidity to people who have cards, right? And I know people hate hearing that sort of word. It's like, liquidity, what's this guy talking about? But really, most people are selling their cards because they need to buy another card or because they're looking to buy something else. And we don't really know when that's going to happen. We know a lot of people are selling cards who wish they didn't have to, right? We know that people are selling cards and they're really, excited to see their gains and that sort of thing too. But it's really, I think it's kind of an aberration that it's as close. The thing that I will tell you, Jeremy, that is really interesting to me though, is that this month is about the same quantity as last month. And last month was an amazing auction. Probably the best auction we've ever had. This month is better. As far as especially the stuff at the top this month, this is the best auction that we've had to date. Fully anticipate that this will be a record total sales from the Premier Auction that we've seen. And so, I'm excited because as we click on these individual items, you'll see that part of the design work is you can see where there's like a video that you can click on and you can hear what somebody's saying as they're looking at the card. I get to do that every month. I get to go hold each of these 400 and something items and talk about them and talk about why they're important, iconic, recognizable, talk about the condition. And so, this is really an exciting auction, both in terms of how large it is, but mostly to me, it's in terms of the quantity the quality of the cards. And so not just the cards, the other stuff, right? We talked about it on the pre-show, but the memorabilia this month, the video games, there's all sorts of things. And that's something that I think is going to be really exciting for us.
I mean, there's some absolute bangers here. You've got an 03 exquisite LeBron James RPA out of 99. I mean, with a very nice patch. You've, of course, this card is no stranger to the auction. The championship ticket, the Tom Brady Contenders rookie card, it's already at $2 million. So it's at 2.4 with the buyer's premium. And you mentioned this card had hit $1 million. I think in the pre-show, you mentioned this card has hit $1 million in the past. It's sitting at 500, which is $600,000 with the buyer's premium. So is that going to hit $1 million? I don't know. I'm going to call the under, but I don't really know. We have a Luka, again, another card that's no stranger. This is the, I believe, the Emerald version out of 5. Pretty cool looking card. We can go. This is one of my favorite cards in the hobby. The Michael Jordan Precious Metal Gems. The championship version is a beautiful card. Look at that, $240,000 plus 48. We're at $288,000 on this card already. Many, we got Shohei, we got Josh Allen, a 1/1 sitting right there. There's our first pair of memorabilia, first piece of memorabilia we've seen on the Premier Auction. I believe Nick Sapiro has joined PWCC to lead up the memorabilia division. So congrats to him, and nice to see the fruits of his labor already showing up on the platform. Another card, a Steph Curry National Treasures RPA, no stranger to the auction. We see these month after month, almost every month, but not a lot of them. Only 99 made, with a crazy patch on it as well. I mean, listen, we can keep on. Hey, Super Mario Brothers 3. We got a video game on the platform at $7,000 plus $1,400. It's at $8,400 already. There's a LeBron James game-worn jersey. We have a PSA 10 Michael Jordan. Some cards just show up every month. And they are liquid. They are cards that trade. It's at 150,000, 180 with the buyer's premium. I could see this card getting 1 or 2 more bids, maybe more. Seems to be a nice copy from what I can see right here without zooming in too closely. So lots of action. I like to keep focus on the top here. As you know, Adam, to everybody watching, guys, again, welcome to the show if you just joined us. This is the October version of the PWCC Premier Extended Bidding Watch Party. We got my co-host, Adam Gray. We've got special guest, Sean Price will be joining us in about an hour's time. And right there, the last card to get a bid, Adam, is the PSA 7, Jackie Robinson, as you mentioned before. Probably my favorite card in all of sports cards is this one right here. I absolutely love it. Let's go to the comments. We haven't done that yet. We've got a lot of people watching right now. We're going to let more pour in, but let's see what's going on in the comments right now. Studio Sports says it's Thursday. Let's go, everyone, and happy hockey season. We got Frankie Gonzalez joining us from Puerto Rico. Good to see you, Frankie. As always, Hat Trick Hobbies. Good to see you. We got Scott Pope. Welcome to the show. Vintage Card Collector says, best show of the month, that Jerry Rice PMG green. Oh boy, right, Vintage. I can't wait to watch that PMG green go tonight. What's up, Facebook user? Quick shout out. If you're watching on Facebook, here's what you do. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Click the big blue button, and then we can see your name. Frankie says it's been an interesting list talking about the top 100. Interesting is a great word for it. Nothing wrong with interesting. Nothing wrong with debatable. I love it. Hat Trick Hobby says Jeremy's now going to have me spend some money. There we go. Let's spend some money. Let's keep the hobby flowing. Brendan Ryan, does that 2000 Brady count as modern or ultra modern? So Brendan Ryan is talking about this one right here. That's a good question. I believe it's modern. I think ultra modern to me is the last two, maybe 3 years. Is that consistent with how you see it, Adam?
Yeah, the way that I always break it down is actually into 3 groups: vintage, pre-modern, and modern. And so mine, I don't really talk about ultra modern the same sort of way, but for me, for sure, this fits very much in sort of this like pre-modern sort of era, which for me is like 1992 or 1993 all the way up into like 2010.
Right on. And let's just take a quick second to remind everybody, it is now, well, in my time zone, it's 7:42. So it is 6:42 Pacific. Extended bidding starts in about 17 minutes. If you want to bid on any item in the Premier Auction, you have to get a bid in within the next 17 minutes. Otherwise, you are shut out and you do not qualify for extended bidding. What a lot of people do is as soon as the auction goes live, they go in and they place bids on a whole bunch of cards so that they are at least eligible to look for what they think might be the better deals in extended bidding. I haven't done that yet, but I do have one bid in. I will be eligible for extended bidding on one card tonight. I'm not telling anybody what it is. Let's see if I can still afford it by the time it's really when I need to, because right now I'm not the high bidder. I'm no longer the high bidder. So we'll see how that goes. But watch the ticker right now. It explains how the extended bidding works to some degree. Justin White says, got any Charlie Trippy cards? The only player to rush past and receive for 1,000 yards, but somehow he is snubbed, and I've never heard of him, so probably very unjustly snubbed. Hockey cards up. Good evening. Suzuki had an insane penalty shot goal tonight. Great. He's talking about Nick Suzuki of the Montreal Canadiens. Stale prod. Good to see. Yeah, nice to see high listings. Ben Diamond in the house. Excited about that Jerry Rice Precious Metal Gems green. Says it's the highest 90s football card ever. Yeah, and it officially has surpassed $100,000. The last time I saw the bid was at 90 plus buyer's premium is 108.
It's over that. It's over that now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Josh Dawson in the house. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is this Josh's card here for sale, or is his going in the next sale?
Well, I would tell you if I didn't know, but I know because I actually interviewed Josh about this card for BCF this month. Yeah, this is Josh's pride and joy here. Decided to let it go. And I got to tell you, I held this one in hand, Jeremy. I have never seen, and I've gotten to see quite a few of these now. I have never seen a LeBron patch as nice as this one. If you click on this one, I know we're still going through the comments, but at some point, let's click on it, and you're going to see that this isn't just a 3-color patch, as you might see from the outside. Oh, it's 3-color. This is one of the nicest patches on this card that's in existence. And given that there's only 6 of them that have been graded by PSA with the auto being graded as well, 7, look at that, 7 breaks Jeremy.
Yeah,
7
there's even
breaks
one
on the
down in
lender.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, I count 7 breaks as well. Let's have a look at the autograph. Oh yeah, that's a gorgeous autograph. The ink isn't faded at all. No real hiccups in the pen strokes. Very nice. What is the? Let's have a look at the subgrades. Oh, it's PSA. So we got a PSA 8. The autograph has a 10. So we don't know exactly what the grade. How it's divvied up between corners. And I guess because we're streaming, there we go. It's cleared up. So seems to be a little bit of fray coming off that corner up there. No big deal at all. Just take a quick look at this, Adam, because this is a big card. We have the consigner on the screen with us right now. You can tell the corners are probably around an 8 themselves, but I have to think that centering and surface and edges look good. Very minor, if nothing, along the black edge there. Bottom right corner looks pretty clean to me. Yeah, I mean, and of course, we're not focusing quick enough. I don't want to spend a ton of time, although this card is deserved of a ton of time. There's the left side of the black edge. I don't know if that's just the edge of the card we're seeing or just a little bit of white showing, but nothing that offends me, that's for sure. And zoom out, look at the centering. I mean, it might be a little off center to the left, but listen, this is one of those cards where beggars can't be choosers. The grade doesn't even really matter on a card like this. Someone had there was one of those Instagram chains that went on the last couple of days saying, show a card from your collection where the condition doesn't matter or the grade doesn't matter. I mean, you don't want this card to be folded in half, of course, but anything from like a near mint and up is going to be, or even less than even like excellent near mint is going to be worthy of a collection and still going to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is at $750 right now, plus another 150. So this is going to sell for $900,000, and Josh Dawson is going to get his $750 plus a bit of a bonus, I believe, too, because PWCC actually pays out more than the hammer price on cards of this magnitude. So good luck to you, Josh, and good luck to the buyer. I mean, whoever ends up with this card is going to own a heck of a special card.
Can I jump in and say a few things about this one while we're here, real quick? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the thing that I think that you can't oversell here is how vitally important provenance is with certain cards. The LeBron James 03 Exquisite RPA is maybe the card that provenance is one of the most important things. And given that Josh has owned this for such a long time, in fact, if Josh is still watching, I'd love it if you put it in the comments what year he actually acquired it. I know I asked him for the BCF interview, but I can't recall. The fact that it's been in a PSA holder for so long really matters. And the thing that I think is important to clarify here is that there might be, people who are really smart who look at this and see the auto grade of 10 and may realize, this has only been graded in the last few years. So we bought it in 2007. That's amazing. It's amazing. And I'll explain why that's amazing in a second. This card has been in Josh's possession since 2007, and it was graded a long time ago. Okay. Graded a really long time ago. And then Josh wanted to have the autograph also authenticated and graded. And because it's a 10, so then PSA takes it out of its original case and puts it into another case. Besides that brief moment where it was out of a case, this card has been encased for so long, right? For such a long time. And given that there's so few copies that have been graded by PSA, again, Jeremy, 6 copies ever have been given an autograph grade. PSA does a poor job, unfortunately, of breaking out between the two. There's some that have been graded with an autograph grade and some that haven't, but there's only a handful more than that 6 ever. See, Josh, again, he's owned this card for 16 years. This is like a pride and joy sort of card. As I listened to Josh's voice as I interviewed him and talked to him about it, this was a hard one for him to let go, but he's got a couple of kids that are getting older, and it is such a significant amount of money, but provenance really matters on this one, particularly because sort of in that 2010 to 2015 range, you had a lot of people taking cards like this, switching patches out, adjusting autographs. Because this one has been owned in the same collection there since that long, I think it protects against a lot of those things. So for me, this is just me talking. And I work for PWCC. You can accuse me of really trying to talk at the card. I get all that. For me, this is the single nicest LeBron James Exquisite RPA out of 99 I've ever seen. And so I I'm really excited for Josh. I certainly think it's going to sell for a lot more than it's at right now. But again, excited for the winner, excited for Josh. It's a great card.
And he's owned it since, as he says right here, he bought it in 06. So what did he pay? $5,000 for this card. He's about to cash out $750 plus.
I asked him, he wouldn't tell me, and I get it. I get why Josh, because you don't want everybody to know how much money you're going to make on something. But obviously, Jeremy,
I can think back. I mean, I was watching these cards back in those years, and I don't know what he paid either. But I mean, just going back and not divulging any of his private information, I wouldn't be surprised if he paid $5,000 for this card. He's about to come into a nice bit of profit and take some money off the table. But as he says right here, he's got family, kids, college, maybe some PWCC purchases. And let me tell you, a collector like Josh, when they take this kind of money off the table, they're putting some back in. They're putting some back into the hobby almost for sure, because at the end of the day, he's not done buying cards. He's still buying cards. We all buy cards all the time. So, well, most of us anyway. So let's keep on. Okay, let's go back and say hello to, we got Nahuggins in the house. Good to see you. Slab Exchanges with us tonight. B&B Sports Collector, my guy B is in the house. Gary says, good evening, fellas. Nice to be back with you for another premiere. This is such an incredible auction. It's tough to narrow down the focus on specific cards to pursue. So many. Yeah, there's a lot of cards to buy, but there's limited funds. I think most of us are playing with limited funds. So hopefully that can help you narrow down your attention, Gary. Hobby Quick Hitters in the house. What's going on? Appreciate the comment. Anthony George says, finally getting to catch more than just the last 30 minutes of these shows. I know the final minutes are the best. I wouldn't say that necessarily, but appreciate it. Good to have you with us, Anthony George. What's up, Michael Ham? Always good to see you. We have Brendan Ryan says, looks like that card has been stared at so long, all the foil is tarnished, which there isn't a lot of foil on the card, actually, is there? I mean, none around the patch window. There's only a little bit of foil there on the serial number itself. And then up here where it says exquisite rookie patch. And then, of course, on the logo. And if I do risk it and bring up the 360, now that actually loaded pretty quick, you're going to actually get a nice look at the foil behind. Look at the foil behind him there.
Yeah. To be clear, I'm pretty sure Brendan Ryan is joking, as evidenced by his laugh emoji. At the end.
For sure.
Maybe Brendan Ryan's bidding on the card too.
Yeah, hey, you never know. Ben Diamond wants to, congrats on the great investment.
Yeah.
Hobby Quick Hitter says, Josh, come to the dark side of memorabilia. Nick, Hobby Quick Hitters is Nick. I should have known that. Is Nick Sapiro. Good to see you, Nick, and congrats to you on joining PWCC as the head of the memorabilia department. Ross Barron, good to see you. Ross Berman, good to see you. And the Slab Exchange is with us yet again. Good to see you, Slab Exchange. All right, Adam. So look, we've got this card on the screen right now. Let's go back to the main page. And are there any cards that you want to take a look at right now? And to the chat, everybody watching, if there's any cards that you'd like us to take a look at, to do a deep dive on, really analyze the condition of it. I'm going to do it on that PSA 8 Wayne Gretzky no matter what, but we're happy to do it on some others. I really enjoy the 48 Leaf Jackie Robinsons. We can take a look at some of those. Feel free to post in the chat if there's something that you'd like us to look at while we're waiting for that. Adam, what about you? Should we look at the Jerry Rice?
I have two cards, and one of them is the Jerry Rice. The other one, interestingly, is a football card, because I'm not a football card guy, but I think the Quad Exquisite Shield is such a cool card. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard hardly anybody else talking about it, but this is a game-used quad shield. If this was an NBA card, I made the case. If this was an NBA card, the comp of it would be $1 million card. And so what's interesting to me is the 90s sort of in football is really catching up to basketball now in a lot of ways. Maybe not like totally caught up, because you're right. Jerry Rice isn't going to sell for what a Michael Jordan would sell for. But this quad card I look at and I'm like, oh my goodness. So anyway, those are the two cards I think we should look at.
All right. Well, I'm going to scroll through. We've got 100 and something cards here in football, so I'm not going to scroll through all 150 of them. I'm going to go straight to.
It's right at the top right now. Scroll up.
Oh, this one here.
Right there. Yep. Somebody placed a bid on it.
All right. Well, isn't that funny that we start talking about it, someone places a bid on it? That happens more. I think that happens more than we'd like it to. But let's say Dan Marino, Steve Young. I mean, come on. 1 of 1 game used NFL logos. This card is from 2007 when they really made cards the right way. What a beautiful card. San Francisco 49ers, Miami Dolphins, on-card autographs. What is the backs? Oh, oh my God. You were saying quad, and I'm like, what? I only see 2 players. Never mind. There we got Brett Favre and Peyton Manning as well. Like, is there a better football card on the planet? Seriously.
Like, I'm not even like, if this was basketball, Jeremy, and so first off, in basketball, there's dual logo man autos and there's triple logo man without autos. I don't think there's any quad logo man autos in existence. If there was, imagine it being, what's the equivalent of this in basketball? Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Steve Young, Dan Marino. We're talking about 4 of the greats of the whole era, of that whole 20 years. Like, would this be like, what's the comp on this?
This card is missing Joe Montana, but it has Steve Young in there instead of Joe Montana, which is a decent substitution. But for me, I'd prefer to see Joe Montana. However, so who do you remove if you're doing that basketball equivalent? Is it the equivalent of Michael Jordan not being on there, but Kobe Bryant being on instead, or somebody else? I'm not sure. But this card, again, you got Marino, Young, Favre, and Brett Favre's, his kind of brand is taking a hit. So maybe you prefer John Elway to be on there versus Brett Favre at this point. Maybe, so. but then I wouldn't, maybe Joe Montana instead of Steve Young. This is probably the second best possible quad shield, that I could think of. So
yeah, I look at this card and I think, imagine if you had on one side of a basketball card, a logo man of Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson. And on the other side, it was maybe like Charles Barkley and I don't know, maybe like Penny Hardaway. And they were all signed. It was numbered out of 1. It was out of exquisite. Like, to me, that's $1 million card. Seriously. Like, if it's not $1 million, it's close to $1 million. And here we are at 27 grand. And I'm just kind of like how sometimes stuff just doesn't make sense to me, Jeremy. This is one of those moments where I just like, if I could bid, I was allowed to bid, because again, PWCC employees are not allowed to bid on our cards. It's a hard and fast rule. I would bid on this card 100%. And I'm not even a football guy, but I just look at this and I think, long term, isn't this the sort of card that you would want to have in your collection? A 1 of 1 of 4 of the all-time greats, the Shield auto. I don't know what more you could do with a single piece of cardboard unless you made like a booklet. It's just a fantastic card.
And then it's no longer a card. Then it's a booklet. So I think it's a great card. We've got some comment. I like some people have called out what the basketball equivalent would be. So Josh Dawson says Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Steph Curry. And yes, but Josh, did you account for the fact that Joe Montana and maybe John Elway are not on this quad NFL shield? Ben Diamond says Allen Iverson, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, and Kobe Bryant. That might be a little bit more where I'd put it versus this is the best. What Josh is giving us here, what Josh is presenting us here, is the ultimate card as far as basketball goes. Players who are not named, I guess, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and that kind of thing, but an amazing card for sure. Frankie throws out Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Like that one, that card, along with Josh's card here. Come on, what a collection! But here, now we're playing make-believe. There are no make-believe cards in this auction tonight. Every card in this auction is real. So let's focus on the real cards. But I want to go to a couple more comments here that we have. Mitch wants us to look at the Messi Ronaldo Gold Power. Thank you, Mitch. We will put that on the list. Chad Spain, good evening. Glad you love the show. Thanks for joining. Slab Exchange reminded me to flip that card over because I was only loving the first half of it. Jake Dahl likes the quad. Rest in peace to Charlie Trippy, who, again, I'm not familiar with. I apologize for that to everybody. We got Nikita in the house. What's going on? Josh Dawson was those are the modern GOATs for sure. And here, Jake Dahl puts out another combination. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley. Yeah, and Frankie Gonzalez wished that those really existed. Of course we do. So, Adam, take the mic for a second while I go find this Messi Ronaldo card to bring up, and we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, well, and as you do that, just a reminder that the Jerry Rice is what we sort of wanted to also pull up at the same time. To me, looking at those two cards is particularly interesting because you basically have different, like, really different sector within the same, within the same sport. You've got like high-end memorabilia autograph type collectors with that exquisite quad autograph, and then you got 90s guys with the Jerry Rice. And what I started to say, and then I kind of interrupted myself, was the Rice, like, it represents like this growth of 90s football that is like almost tangible. We've seen this really significant growth again over the last few years, but especially the last few months. It feels like things are still really ramping up. That we can see in the price has like kind of started to catch up toward basketball. Not that it's there yet, but it's really caught up. But some of these like high-end memorabilia autograph type cards, when you compare them basketball to football, Jeremy, it's just like worlds apart, right? Because those quads that we were just talking about, that everybody was talking about there, those are legitimately, like, if that card existed, it would legitimately be in like a high six figures or potentially even like $1 million.
And we're gonna really see an example of that, Adam, when we look at the green Jerry Rice, the precious metal gems green Jerry Rice, and how that compares to Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan's in a stratosphere of his own. I mean, even the second highest valued precious metal gems green from that set, being Kobe Bryant, sells at a fraction of what the Jordan sells for, like 10%. Now, we don't know what the Jordan sells for right now. I guess it's the next one would do about 2 million, where the Kobe does about what's the Kobe, 250 or so?
Actually, are you talking the red or the green?
Green.
Because the green Kobe, the best graded green Kobe, PWCC brokered a deal on that maybe close to a year ago now for $2 million. And so that is still a huge, huge card. I think if I had to guess, Jeremy, this is me speculating. I think the Jordan green's probably 4 to 4.5 at this point. It's a huge card.
So let's have a look at this card for Mitch W. I mean, Mitch, thanks for calling this one out, because this card is just a stunner. It's like I can't look. I love the kind of that gold vinyl, that super fractor kind of effect that it has. And boy, oh boy, is that just a nice looking card. I noticed there was a regular copy of this card in the auction as well. But I'm going to go to the scan now so we can have a look at the subgrade. So centering's a 9, edges are 9.5, as is surface. Surface is very important to me on these cards. And then corners are an 8.5. And if I'm just going to take a look, top left corner looks perfect to me. Top edge looks great. Top right corner, I mean, I can't really see anything wrong with that. I don't know if that's very slight fray coming off over there, but nothing offensive whatsoever. Just beautiful to look at. This edge looks great. Just great. Bottom right corner, what do we have in store? Nothing. I see nothing wrong with that bottom right corner. And I mean, we're zoomed in. Now we're at the max zoom. I can't see anything wrong with that corner. So is it the bottom left corner that has corners at an 8.5? We'll have to look at the back, of course. And the bottom left looks good to me too. So I'm going to zoom out. I really want to figure out the corner's 8.5 because I can't imagine it's got to do with the front of the card. So it must be something on the back. And I think we found our culprit. There it is.
Yep. There it
That's
is.
our culprit right there. That's why we're seeing the 8.5. And that's a significant bit of corner surface wear right there. It's almost now, unless Adam, I don't think so, but I mean, just to make sure we're covering it, unless that is in the card, unless that there's white, no, that wouldn't make any sense. That's not player jersey. No, that's definitely damaged. The bottom edge has a little bit of light chipping, nothing that offends me at all along the bottom. Bottom left corner looks good. It's white, so it would be harder to find and notice any real damage there. Let's have a look at the top left corner. Looks good to me. This card, now I want to see centering because I think the centering also wasn't a 9.5. The centering grade is a 9. So when I look at this card, maybe top to bottom, I think that top border is a little bit narrower than the bottom border. Side to side, pretty bang on as far as I can tell. Look, for the grade, I think this card is very nice. The fact that the most significant damage on this card is on one corner on the back, that's good news to me for both the seller and the buyer, the owner of this card. I love the card, Mitch. I love the card. Adam, what about you? I know like neither of us are soccer guys, but I'm smart enough to know that when you have Ronaldo and Messi on a single card, I believe it's a one of, is this a 1 of 1?
No, it's a
Is that a
5 of
five?
5. Yeah.
Is that a
So
5? The population is 1 of 1 with 1 graded higher. So it's not a 1 of 1, but beautiful card, 60,072 with a buyer's premium. Adam, what are your comments on this card?
you mentioned us not being soccer guys. You're right. The great thing about being able to do all the Premier Auction videos over the course of the last 5 months, though, is a lot of the cards that we're selling aren't basketball. And so I've had to do a lot of research and been able to listen to really smart people sort of teach me. So this is what I've learned about this card that I think is important to know. First off, this is from the first Prism soccer set, right? So it's significant in those terms. But more importantly than that, look, these are the two guys over the last 20 something years in the world of soccer that have the biggest followings. Look at their Instagrams, look at like how much these guys are followed. This is the soccer card of the night. It's the card that, like, when people saw it show up, or when they saw it like pop up on the Premier Auction, they went, whoa, because not only is it from that first Prism set, this is the first time this card has ever been publicly available, like at auction. So there are a lot of people right now that are sort of watching, saying, okay, we have one of these grail type soccer cards. It's never sold publicly. What's it going to do? And so the guess on this one is sort of anybody's guess. The last thing that I'll add that I was told that I think is kind of interesting on this one is, imagine if, the 2008 Topps Chrome with Kobe and LeBron, that card that everybody knows, that it's Kobe's card where LeBron's guarding him. It's like sort of viewed as a duel. Like, this is sort of soccer's version of that. The only thing that's different here is, like, this is the equivalent of the super fractor, the gold vinyl being numbered out of 5. So it's historically significant in that it's from the first set. It's the two best guys. And I know there's people right now who are listening to me going, Adam, shut up, stop talking about this card, stop talking. But it's the biggest soccer card of the night. So I think we're really expecting some fireworks on this one. But again, anybody's guess. We don't know. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. You never know what can happen on any given night. But thanks for that call out. Hat Trick Hobby says soccer F1 is on the rise, big time as well. Both worthy, both are international sports, and I think soccer probably has the most potential. As far as just penetrating the deepest, darkest corners of the world, and stickers and cards and all that. So Larry's Classic Sports Videos in the house. Hello to you, Larry. Thanks for joining. We got Rage back. Rage is back. Says, what's good, fellas? Back at it like a crack addict. You are here. Good to see you, Rage. Thank you for joining. Maybe now is a good time, because I do have it teed up, Adam. And I like to do this. I like to take a look at the Gretzky O-Pee-Chee rookies in the auction. And we have a PSA 8, this guy right here. And I just noticed that it's actually got the PWCC eye appeal rating being in the top 15%. That's the PWCC-E, which I believe stands for exceptional. If I believe that's right. Yes, you can see it right there in yellow. Exceptional is the top 15%. I like these little stickers. Better than the certificate that used to come, but now you get both. And so here it is. This is a PSA 8, so it's a near mint to mint. 79 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky. Should we take a look at them? Should we do the deep dive?
What if I said no? You'd be so disappointed. We better look at it. We better do it.
Let's take a look. Okay, so I'm going to start with the corners. Actually, let's start with the wide angle view here. The first thing that sticks out to me on this card is the centering. It is off-centered, left to right. I don't know what the quantity is, like if it's 45-55 or is that 60-40. I'm not sure. I don't have a ruler up against my screen, but it's not that off-centered that it would not be welcome in my collection. It certainly would be. The other thing that I noticed right away is this little print dot right here in white. So let's take a look at that and see what that is. So I can't really tell what that is, if it's a little bit of the gloss from the card was scratched off or what. I'm having trouble understanding what that is, but it's some sort of surface imperfection. I also don't know what this little guy is right here. I don't think that's normal. Maybe just a little pit on the card, which is a regular occurrence on sports cards in general. Let's have a look at the corners, though. Top left corner. Very, very nice. little bit of an angle issue here. You know, the perfect angle on a card on a corner is going to be a 90-degree angle. And this one seems to kind of slope inwards a little bit, then slope outwards a bit. But that's typical on these 79 O-Pee-Chees because they have the jagged edges. And that might just be a function of the jagged edge. You come across the top border, you can see the fray coming off it. Again, very standard, nothing offensive there. A little bit of edge chipping, but that's typical for the issue. And I certainly don't penalize the cards for it. I know PSA doesn't as well. We come along and it's consistent. I like that edge chipping is very consistent, very minor little fisheye here. Top right corner looks wonderful. Lots of fray coming off the card right here, guys. Again, it's typical and it doesn't offend me. I don't want a ton of it all over the card, but this amount here, maybe more than I'd love, but doesn't offend me. This top right corner, though, very strong, very strong. It's not a perfect 90 degrees, but it's a wonderful corner overall. Coming down the right side, and right away we're noticing, if you notice, what are you noticing, Adam? I should start quizzing everybody. What are you noticing?
Well, what I'm noticing is the white that just goes past the black there. And then on the inner part of the card, there are a couple of black lines to the left. I see it happening as well, which usually that's what we see, right? When we see it on one, we see it on all because that's how registration works. Did I get it right?
Yeah. So that's exactly right. What we're seeing is a bit of a registration issue because here's the black border, and then here's the black border in the image, and here's the blue border of the card, and we see this little sliver of white coming down. That tells me that the black printing plate was offset about half a millimeter to the left, and you see the little bit of blue coming over the black border here. You see the white again here, and then a bit of fuzziness right over here. So minor registration issue in the printing process. It's not too bad, but if I'm being forthright in how I like my cards, I prefer my Gretzky rookies not to have this issue. We come all the way down and we get to the bottom right corner. Wonderful corner overall, a little bit of fray. It's not a perfect corner, but it's certainly within the realm of an 8 in my opinion. And again, that registration issue carries forward down the bottom of the where the Oilers logo is here. And of course, we have to have a look at the oil drop. So the oil drop is this orange piece here. How well centered is it within the blue pocket? And this one, although it's offset a little bit to the left, is really nicely placed on a vertical, from the vertical perspective, almost perfectly placed vertically, just a little bit to the left. These are a lot worse in a lot of cards. So this one's actually really nice. It's actually a very nice placement of the oil drop. We come along the bottom. No registration issue top to bottom. That's certainly a left to right issue. This bottom left corner looks very strong. A little bit of fray over here. And then I also like to look at the focus of the legs. And right here, this is all consistent with this registration issue. If you follow the mouse here, you'll notice there's a bit of blur on the edge of the leg. And that's just the same. That effect is the same for the same reason that we're seeing these breaks over here. And that's way less than a millimeter. Actually, when you zoom out, I was zoomed in too close. And when you come out, you don't even see it. So that's something to be said there. Overall, I think this is an 8. Is it an exceptional 8? I'm not sure I would have given it that designation myself, but that's okay. We all have a different eye. So we'll leave it up to the buyers and the public to decide. But overall, it's a very nice card. And it would be more than welcome in my collection, although I might want to one day find a copy of but this is me being ultra picky. I'm ultra picky when it comes to the registration. So that's kind of where it's at. The back of the card, we have to look at the back of the card. First thing I want to see is, does it have the print lines? And it does. So right now, if you guys can all see these two very faint and parallel blue lines coming up from the bottom of the card that go all the way up to the skate. This is if you zoom out, you'll notice that this whole thing is in the shape of a skate where the stats are. And then you come up, they continue up over here. A lot of people in the hobby, I think it's a fallacy, believe this to be a first print run. I think it's maybe a later print run because there was an issue in the printing process. It degraded, and that's what happened. But some people put a premium on these. I don't like when I see people refer to these as first print run. I prefer them to just say blue lines are present, and that tells you what you got. But overall, it looks good, without doing a real deep dive into it. We know what the corners are like pretty much from the front. No real printing issues that I can see. Looks like a nice copy overall. The back's very nice from my perspective. So a nice copy. Adam, your thoughts?
My thoughts are whenever we drill into a vintage card, the way that we just did, I always sort of like grimace just a little bit, because the great thing, one of the great things about the Premier Auction, one of the great things about the vault is just that we just do a really good job of imaging cards. And so, other auction sites, you're not going to see as great of an image. Like, you get this really crisp, clear image that you can see in a lot of ways, Jeremy, you know this better than you can in hand, unless you've got a loop with you. And so, as we look at the corners on every Gretzky, even the 9s that we've looked at, some of the same things that you talked about tonight on this one, you said, but as you were talking about it, the thought that came to my mind is this is an 8, right? It seems like most of the time when we're looking at these, we're looking at 9s because that's what's usually in the Premier Auction. But what's great about this one is that, you're certainly not paying 9 money for this card. And so those are some of my thoughts on the card.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest, I'm pretty certain I've seen 9s that aren't as nice as this 8 over the years. So it's definitely a strong card. I mean, yeah, I'm nitpicking about some things, but that's what I do. This is a card that I have a heavy focus on. So I'm going to call out what I see and what I think. All that said, it's still a great card. Yeah, it's still a great card overall. So let's have a couple of things I want to. First of all, Justin made a comment on the soccer card. He says that card is amazing. Gold vinyl matchups never surface, and the 1-of-1 black matchups is still raw, making the gold vinyl prism matchups the top ultra modern soccer card. Well, that's heavy praise on that dual Ronaldo Messi that we were looking at before, the Gretzky card. So that's really cool. Justin goes on to say gold power, I think it's called, not vinyl. Thank you for clarifying. That is for sure. And then Chris Wong wants to, where is Sean? Sean will be our special guest, Chris. He'll be joining us in the next half hour or so, I believe. I asked him to come on at maybe 11 Eastern, I think he's coming on. Huggins makes a great point here. He says, rough cut equals not trimmed. I kind of like a minimal rough cut personally. Me too. I want my Gretzky O-Pee-Chee to have a bit of a rough cut. I don't want those edges to be as sharp as the Topps version, which are often extremely sharp. I want my Gretzky O-Pee-Chees to have a bit of a rough cut. To me, it's very authentic. It's nostalgic. It's what I want. And it's what I have in my O-Pee-Chee Gretzky's. Justin completely agrees. And I think the majority of the hobby does agree with that. He goes on to say it feels more historic and authentic. Very good. Huggins says that oil drop face, and I think he's saying you like the oil drop, Huggins, because it is pretty well placed compared to many others. I think that's a face palm. Like, oh my gosh, that's a nice oil drop. It's funny how we can make these, even say these words about a little oil drop on a hockey card. It's pretty funny, but hey, that's what we do. We have a request to look at the Moses Malone rookie. We will do that. Thank you, Tony. We'll take a look at that shortly. Huggins says, all right, guys, blow up the Griffey piece of the action. It's creeping out of my range quickly. All right, we'll get to that right away. Says he loves that card. Cat T, does anyone mind explaining how to watch the extended bidding? Cat, you just go to the PWCC Marketplace.com website, go into the marketplace called Premier, and there they will be. You can go in each auction and see what they're at. And if you go to the top of the page, which I'll do right now on this tab, is where you can see the card with the newest bid coming through. Is this the Griffey that we were just asked to look at?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's convenient that it was right there ready to go. Let's do it. Let's switch gears and take a look at the Griffey for Huggins, who did say he wants to see it's creeping out of your range. All right, let's first come out of the 360 view and take a look at this card. It's a BGS 8.5. The autograph has a 10. Centering is a 9.5. Edges are one of the weaker points, 8.5. Corners the weakest at an 8. And surface is a 9.5, which I always like to see. Adam, any comments from you? I think I kind of talked over you there before I dive into this.
Oh, no worries. But yeah, it was actually on this card, so perfect timing. I saw a few people talking about this one. I believe Spino was talking about it, and I heard other people talking about it. And the way that this card has been described to me, the basketball sort of comparison of this one, Jeremy, is the 97 Upper Deck game jersey auto of Michael Jordan. There's no other versions of this. There's no other sort of like one of one parallel or anything like that. This is the first Griffey jersey autograph card. And so, like the Jordan 97, when you initially look at it, honestly, it's kind of like it screams 90s. It's not like its design is sort of like aesthetically like incredible, but it screams 90s. And since it's the first, it's the first one of these that we've seen in the Premier Auction, I believe, ever. I don't recall having another one of these.
No,
it's one of those ones that sort of we all knew, those of us who were close enough to the Premier Auction knew that once extended, it kind of happened. We knew that this one would have some real followers. I had no idea what this one will do tonight, but if you want like a historically significant Griffey that is also sort of recognized and lauded in the baseball community, this is a really cool option.
I wonder if this card was the inspiration for the silhouettes that came out from Panini starting in the early 2010s. That's one of the first things that came to my mind is we never saw something like this back then. What year is this card again? This card is 98. I mean, 98. Is this the first silhouette style card? I don't know. I'm putting that out to me. I'm sure someone out there can tell us. I'm curious to know. You're right, though, Adam. You call out the aesthetics. It's not the prettiest card out there for my eye, but sometimes the most very important cards aren't the prettiest either. It's kind of okay. Like, for example, this version of the logo just kind of sticks out to you being the only kind of non-blue, white, and black attribute or accent on the card. But hey, that's the Mariners logo. The at least what Griffey did is he autographed it on the lightest part of the card. He nailed like you got it. You got to thank Ken Griffey Jr. for having that attention to detail. But let's face it, most athletes know that they should sign on the lighter part of a card or picture or whatever it is you're giving them. I love that we have game used jersey. It says right on the front, game jersey. The corners are an 8. Let's just take a quick look at that. Top right looks fine. A speck of white up there. Top left looks really good. Bottom left looks really good. And bottom right, touch of white. But I did notice on the back, especially over here, that's where you've got some more significant corner surface wear. But when you zoom out, you can barely see it. But it is certainly there. Bottom right isn't perfect either. The edge has some chipping. Top left, not perfect. I'm not sure what this action is here. Are these surface defects or is that on? It can also be on the slab. I just don't know. But really good card. You don't see a lot of upper deck cards that have Brian Burr's signature on them. A lot of it goes from Richard McWilliam to the Richard McWilliam Family Trust. You don't see a lot of that either. But I love this. Hand numbered. And I prefer machine numbered, but that's besides the point. 2 out of 24. That's a pretty rare card from 1999. This would have been a needle in a haystack kind of card.
So Spino's comment about the comp to this in basketball being that Jordan, I mean, it's not just the year. It's not just that the auto is sort of like doesn't have a perfect place for it. It's also that you're getting a hand numbered, first jersey autograph. The thing that you point out, I didn't even realize, Jeremy, is that silhouette piece. Look how close Griffey got to the jersey on the autograph.
Yeah.
He just barely missed it, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he came, that's a good call out, Adam. He came right to the edge. Look at that.
It's awesome.
Like
so Jeremy, for me, like I'm a big is this card significant guy? Like a lot of people like different elements of a card. To me, the number one thing that I care about is, does it matter? Does it have a story to tell? Like, can I look at it and can I say, this is important and here's why? The moment that I say to you, this card is the baseball comp to the Jordan game jersey auto in 97, you hear that, you see those different elements and you go, oh my goodness, it's the first jersey auto. It's all these other things. It makes sense why it sort of has the number of people talking about it before the auction, because it matters and you won't see one again for a long time.
Agree with you. So, there's also the first Wayne Gretzky jersey auto came from, I believe, 98 upper deck. And it's kind of a similar, it's not the most beautiful card. The autograph is kind of hidden on the card a little bit, but it's super important and goes for good money. So I agree with you, Adam. I think it's an important card. I wasn't even aware of it until right now. Didn't even know this card existed. And now it's like, it's on my radar because just based on its importance. But let's face it, I'll probably never own one. There were only 24 of them manufactured. And back in the day, how many of them actually are still kind of out there floating around, not buried to never be discovered sort of thing? I don't know. All 24? 6, 12, who knows? 20, don't know. I wanted to say to Tony, I didn't find any Moses Malone. When I searched for Moses Malone, I didn't see a card. Adam, is there a card in the auction? Because
I wonder if you still have your baseball or your football filter on.
I was here. I'm going to check again. I think I know what I did wrong. I probably I got all items. I'll just search for Malone and see if it comes up for me. Here, I'll bring up. Guys can see what I'm doing here. Your search return no. Oh, there. That's why I've got football checked off.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. It's
okay.
There.
Here we go. Here it is. So Moses Malone, PSA 10. This is a rookie card, 1975. Is it $17,000? I feel like a few months ago we saw a copy of this card sell for big money. I don't remember how much, but a lot bigger than 17,000 is my recollection. I don't know if anyone out there can validate that or confirm it, but for me, I think I did. This is a pretty cool card. I mean, it's not a card that I've ever owned, but if we're going to take a quick look at it, it is a PSA 10 centering overall. Adam, bang on. I mean, maybe a hair to the left, maybe, and that just might be my eyesight, but it looks maybe it's bang on. Actually, corners are going to be tougher to see because they're white, edges as well, but that looks really clean to me all the way across the top, coming down, very clean. Focus. Bottom right corner. Let me zoom out a bit. Let's see if this will focus for us. There we go. Very clean. Very clean on the bottom left. Touch of one piece of fray coming off there. Minor chipping on the board on the edge. Inoffensive chipping is how I would describe that. The back. I mean, the back looks really nice at first glance, and as you kind of just make your way through it, I don't see any real surface issues. Kind of looks a bit darker right there, but that just might be the stock. Yeah, really nice card. And again, I feel like we saw a copy of this sell for 60, 80, 150K somewhere. What did it sell for last time, Adam?
I should know that. I don't. I know that it was a record price, that there recently was a record price on a Moses Malone rookie card, but not all, obviously the market's changed over the last little bit, but also, not all PSA 10s are created equal. And so, maybe for whatever reason that one, so I just got a message from one of my friends at PWCC who said that there was one actually sold on our weekly auctions for 102,000 back in March. So a couple things have happened in the world, since March. The world's changed, and some stuff is not worth as much as it was. And so, I think this is not the same copy as that one. And so that one also had an exceptional sticker on it. That might have been the nicest Moses Malone rookie in the world. And so that's, there's all these variables. There's card quality, there's how the world's changed and how the market's changed, how the card market's changed. All three of those variables, I think, are at play here. But let me just say a few other things about this one real quick, because this is one of my favorite cards in the auction as well. You don't see a lot of Moses Malone PSA 10 rookies because it's such a sensitive set, not only from the perspective of centering, but 1975 Topps basketball is widely regarded as one of the more difficult sets to get right, like as far as corners and edges, and be well preserved. This is the number 2 ABA basketball card after, of course, the Julius Erving. Those are really the only two really significant ABA type cards. As somebody who lives in the state of Utah, it's probably the only Utah card we've ever had at the Premier Auction. There's not a lot of those. But the thing that you got to know about Moses that a lot of people really don't think about is he's widely regarded by the sort of well-read basketball community as a top 15 to 18 player of all time. He has one really significant card. This is it. It's a low pop and a PSA 10. So although it might not be the best copy in the world, it might be another year before you see another PSA 10 sold. And so that's kind of the sales point. That's like the sales job on this card. And that's why it's, still sitting at 20 grand.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going through the comments, kind of just noting the ones that I want to, we're going to address here. And Vintage Card Collector confirms one sold for a little over $100,000. Frankie says sold for $100K, then came back tumbling to 20K, back up to 43. We'll see what happens now. I think it's important, though, to mention that the one that sold for 102 did have the eye appeal designation. And I mean, we should all know by now that not all 10s are created equal. Not all 9s are created equal. There are not only 10 different conditions of cards. There's an infinite amount of conditions that a card can be in. So to distinguish between cards within any single grade point is a very important thing, and something that takes a keen eye to be able to do. Hockey Cards Up says one Malone sold August 14th for 43,000, 20K in May, one in April for 90. So we're seeing a lot. The right answer, as Jeff Hart says, is between $25,000 and $100,000. Goes on to say the best offensive rebounder in history. And Rare Card Chaser says this auction has some unbelievable logo men. Yeah, good. Good call out right there. I like the description where they say right here that collectors will be hustling for this card like Moses Malone fighting for a rebound. Nice description. And I must call out and kind of give flowers to the auction description writers, or the asset description writers at PWCC. A good friend of mine recently took a job as one of the writers for these auctions. So I know he's a great writer. So just want to shout him out, and if he wants to put a wave in the chat box, we can call him out by name, but that'll be up to him. So very cool. We've been asked, Adam, to look at several cards, so let's do that. Among them, as Vintage Card Collector reminds us, the Jerry Rice TMP. So I'm gonna do that. Let's just.
We've been talking about that for an hour, Jeremy. We better do it at some point.
I know. You know how these things go. Adam, if you can handle the mic here for a couple seconds, I'm going to bring up all the cards that we've been asked to look at, and then we'll dive into them. Is there something you want to talk about while I'm bringing up cards?
So there's 100 things. I mean, there's 439 things to highlight in this auction. And what Jeremy and I like to do a lot of the time is sit and sort of watch the cards that are getting the most recent bids. The thing that you'll notice if you're doing that right now is a couple of the big Luka Doncic cards are getting huge, big-time bids. There are not only an NT RPA, but an MT RPA number to 20, right? That's the first off the line, one that we don't see very often. Those are both getting a lot of action right now. But the one to me that's the most interesting, Jeremy, is the one that was just referenced in one of the comments, which is there is a Luka Doncic logo man autograph, not an RPA. That would be a several $1 million card, but a logo man auto from Luka's. I believe it's his second year, might even be his third year. And that card, I know, again, that's one that several big buyers were interested to see how that one would do at this auction. It's sitting, I think, at 150 right now pre. And so that's going to be really interesting to watch. And again, the bids are coming in hot and heavy. Football, Jeremy, we haven't hardly touched on modern football. A huge part of this auction is modern football because we're right in the heart of the season. We've got people speculating big time on quarterbacks. And so, you just see a ton of RPAs and low-numbered rookie cards that are out there right now too.
Well, and modern football is just on a huge heater right now. I mean, let's face it. It's between all these rookie quarter. I heard somebody, I think it was the 615 podcast, one of my favorite podcasts out there. They were listing all the quarterbacks that are being collected right now. And I think they went 16 teams deep worth of quarterbacks. And then they listed off another half dozen. It's like every team has a quarterback that is worthy of case hits and, big money into RPAs and that kind of thing. So vintage or modern football is certainly on a heater right now. Okay, so let's go. The first request we had here was from Kat T. She says, could you take a look up at the Justin Herbert cracked ice PSA 10? So let's bring that up right now. And here it is. I'm going to remember to share my screen before I start talking about it. This is the card that Kat asked us to look at. It's got not only the PSA 10 on the card, but the PSA 10 grade on the autograph. This is numbered 3 of 22. And I got to admit, I don't understand, or I'm just not in the know on the numbering on these contender ticket cards, but This is definitely a contender's rookie ticket. Beautiful card overall, as they tend to be. Adam, it's got the cracked. Maybe I'll bring up 360 just for a moment because you can actually see that cracked ice in action. Adam, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I think the 360 does a great job of showing this one off. I really do, especially when you get just close to the face and you just barely turn it. You see how that card refracts refracting with the cracked ice, I think, is one of the best aesthetic sort of like features that you can have on a card. The only thing I would add is, again, I get to see all these cards in hand when I get to, you know, do the Premier videos that accompany each of these. By the way, if you just scroll down for a second, Jeremy, you can actually see where those videos are. So we can just show people real quick. There's a see down there on the, yep, right there. Don't actually click on it, but that takes you to Vimeo, which is a really high quality video. Check that out for any card that you guys are actually looking at bidding on now and in the future. But holding these in hand, I agree with you. I don't know why they're numbered out of 22. I don't know why cracked ices are numbered out of 22. Whatever the reason is, who knows? But what I can say, Jeremy, is these are really great looking cards. Like they stand out amongst a bunch of great looking cards. The cracked ice cards really stand out.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, I collected rookie cards back in 2000 when Tom Brady had his first contenders ticket, and that card did not appeal to me back in the day. I preferred the cleaner SP Authentic rookie card of his, even the SPX. I really like the looks of that one. The contenders have grown on me, and that might just be general hobby sentiment that's kind of worn off on me versus my own true taste for aesthetics, or maybe it is. Maybe they've grown on me legit. I like it. You get the full body shot. This is a pretty card. I mean, I do like the card. I like the on-card auto. I like that the designers at Panini left room for the autograph, as they do on lots of cards, but not all cards. So overall, I like the card. Currently, the bid is at, let's just drop the description, $29,000 plus 58. So just over $35,000. Nice card. I don't follow football closely enough to know if this is where he ranks amongst all quarterbacks, but I certainly hear a lot about him. So I'm sure it's a great card, and yeah, go Chargers, I suppose. So thank you for that request, Kat. Let's keep on going. Studio Sports says, get on that like button, everyone. Best show on the YouTube universe. Thank you, Studio Sports. Tyler made a comment about the Griffey card. He says, I love unassuming cards like that Griffey. Most people have probably never even seen it. That was me. I had never even seen it. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate that great job comment. BNB Sports Collector says, would love to hear what you think about the Kobe Z-Pete Debut. Let's have a look at the Kobe Z-Pete Debut. Now, first impression, listen, I used to own the Ray Allen in this card, and I moved it. I fell out of love with it. I moved it, and I've somewhat regretted it, but not deeply. This view right here is unlike what I've seen. This is gorgeous. Like, look, it's absolutely stunning. These colors are just the green, the blues, the reds, the yellow, the purple. I think it's gorgeous. It's a PSA 10. It's got an MBA, looks like a silver diamond sticker on it. So MBA stands for Mike Baker Authenticated, who is I believe one of the original graders from PSA, who now provides his eye appeal assessments and stickers to reflect that. It's funny. Look at the card now, Adam, versus there, right?
It's where the 360. This is a card that the 360 was made for,
because it doesn't look like the same card. These look like parallels. That does not look like that card, but it is the same card. And this is one of the problems with just simple eBay listings, although I've heard that they may be bringing video into their listings eventually, but you don't get that level of just a complete picture of the card. This is stunning card overall.
I have lots of thoughts on this one. My first question, though, is you mentioned your Ray Allen you fell out of love with. Was it the Z-Pete or was it the Z-Pete Debut?
It was the Debut. And why don't you take a moment, Adam, and explain what the Debut is versus the Z-Pete?
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy. The Debut is basically, it's a refractor, but they don't call it a refractor because it's a Fleer product, right? So, and also it's not chrome, to be clear. So Z-Force in 1996 was one of these products. I think they did it for 2 years. I think there's Z-Force in 96 and 97, if I remember right. I think it's just those 2 years. And they're well known for having the Rave parallels in 97, 98, and those are some of the most popular cards. Well, they had a few inserts that were very collectible as well. I wouldn't say that this insert is the most collected, frankly, because it doesn't have Jordan in it. And one of the things that we know is when Jordan doesn't exist in a basketball insert set, sometimes it doesn't gain the same popularity as if he did exist. But this is a rookie. This is a rookie insert set. All the cards in the set are rookie cards, and obviously Kobe's the big guy, right? He's the big card. So this card, without being the parallel, is a great card of Kobe because it's a cool insert of Kobe, and it's a great card that everybody loves. What makes this particular example so interesting is not only is it the debut, which is significantly more difficult to pull. I mean, one in hundreds of packs, and when you think about how many cards there are in the set, one in thousands and thousands of packs. What makes this one so special, though, Jeremy, being a PSA 10 on this card, I don't know if it says it in the description, but it's like a super low pop. I owned an 8.5 of this card. I had to sell it. It's one that I've regretted selling ever since. Honestly, it's one of those that I bought it at a weekly auction back before I was employed by PWCC. Yep, there you go. Pop 1 of 10. By the way, NBA Mike Baker was actually PSA's first employee. So
1 of 18. Pop 1 of 18.
Oh, 1 of 18. Sorry, good call. But yeah, like this is the biggest selling point. I've totally buried the lead. It's Kobe's best rookie insert card. Like not his best rookie parallel because you've got you've got like credentials and you've got chrome refractor. But if you're talking best Kobe rookie insert, I think that's your answer.
And I just want to state an opinion here. To me, inserts and parallels are on the exact same playing field. They are level with each other. I don't value an insert over a parallel or a parallel over an insert. To me, they're part of the same group of cards. They compete with each other. I collect them both. I don't care if it's a parallel or an insert. To me, it's all the same. It's a technicality from my perspective versus a method of ranking one over the other. But just a general comment there on inserts and parallels. All right, let's keep on going here. CS says, evening, gentlemen. Always love these shows. Hoping to pick up a big one tonight. All eyes on the PWCC Premier Auction. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I think I know what the big one is, but I'm not going to let the whole cat out of the bag and tell everybody. But I think I know what card CS is going for. So good luck to you on that, Mr. CS. Vintage card collector, don't forget to pull up the Rice PMG. Okay. All right. Is that this one here? This one here. So this to me is the star of the show tonight, everybody. Yeah. It's at 120,000, which is 144,000 with the buyer's premium. Oh, let's just look at the extent of the description that was written for this card because it is such an important card. And yeah, I mean, these auction descriptions are becoming mini novels, if you will, and certainly interesting reads and really telling a story. But outside of that, it's a PSA 6, which is a good grade for a precious metal gems card from 1997. And when I'm looking at it from here, Adam, I don't see any single defect that brings it down to a 6 from a 10 or a 9. I don't see any bad corners, any bad edges. I see a little bit of a little corner white right there, or sorry, edge white right there, but the corners all look good. It's tougher to see the surface, but we'll look at the 360. So let's do a quick zoom and have a look. I mean, look at that corner, looks great.
It's perfect.
Corner looks great. Not perfect on the right, but great. Very minor edge. Nothing, like even this is nothing when it comes to PMGs. Corner looks great down there. Not perfect, but still very strong for the grade. Oh, we have some surface wear, I think. We're seeing these little white dots here are surface wear, and then you seem to have something going on. So obviously this corner is less than perfect, but it's still, believe it or not, oh, you guys can't see that. Hold on a second. There we go.
There you go.
This corner here is less than perfect, but believe it or not, it's pretty standard for a precious metal gems from the period. So I think the biggest problem on this card is this whole sector, this bottom left eighth of the card or so, with these surface dots and the corner and whatever these two lines are here. I don't know if that's indicative of a little bit of a bend or creases, or I should say creases, but more wrinkles. Are those wrinkles that crack the green printing, the foil print? I'm not sure. But this is where the problem lies. That's why the card isn't a 10. But when you look at it from here, it's not that offensive at all. But coming up the edge, you got some more. This might be in the design, actually, these little bits of white here. You got a bit of minor edge issue. The back. Let's have a look at the back of the card. Then, Adam, I know you want. We will go to 360. I just noticed this corner, bottom right corner, definitely has an issue there. Top right, some corner surface loss, corner surface wear there, but not too terrible. I mean, if this was, if this was not a PMG, that would be much more offensive, but it's not on a PMG. This is just the way these things are. So I mean, the card, here we go. Some edge chipping here, but it's one of those things. I don't mind it. I don't mind it for myself. And then the bottom corner there. Let's go to the 360 because this is where we're going to see what this card looks like. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Hey, Adam, I mean, it's almost like the card is on green fire.
It's unbelievable.
Very nice card. And, this card is numbered on the back. You can see it's numbered 15 of 150, but it's important to note, if you don't know already, that only the first 15 of this 150 were green. The next 135 were red. So it's only out of 15 in green. Now, PWCC does have a red copy of this also at auction tonight. And that's out of 135, but it's not going to sell for $120,000, $140,000, $150,000. It's going to sell for probably around that $20,000 mark would be my guess. But in any event, great card, Adam. Any comments you'd like to make?
We were talking about this a little bit at the beginning of the show. I believe that this is actually the very first football card from the 1990s that's ever crossed six figures. And so, from that perspective, tonight's a historical night because it represents how much football 90s cards have grown, as we were talking about earlier, sort of a symbol of that. And as you asked, earlier on, like, what's the number one card from this set? Some people are going to say some guys other than Jerry Rice, but there are definitely some that believe that Jerry Rice is the card of the set. And so there's only 15 copies. Again, only 10% that are green. And it's awesome. It's just a great card to see. I think the only other thing that I would add is sometimes we look at a card graded by PSA recently from the 90s and sort of squint and say, they've gotten so much more difficult as the years have gone by. And I think that's true, especially with regard to 90s inserts. I know that's true. There's stuff that used to be 8s and 9s that are now 6s and 7s. But I do think the white that you showed there on the corner there and throughout the left side, that's an imperfection, a common imperfection, and one that is often been recolored. That's why a lot of these cards get, they get that sort of altered designation, is because they've been recolored, even like within the body of the card, the surface of the card. But yeah, it's exciting to see it, and it'll be fun to see where it ends.
It definitely will be. We had a comment that came in here from Play Bike Frisbee, said the Cristiano Ronaldo 7 Mega Cracks is in on a discount. So I was just going to take a look. I don't see any Ronaldo Mega 7. Oh, I think what he means is the BGS 9.5, which is the only Ronaldo Mega Cracks that is in the auction. So I'll pull that up for a second. I don't. What is CR7? Is 7 his jersey number? I'm guessing it must be.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a quick look at the card here.
I say like I know. I'm just guessing, by the way, but I think that.
I don't know either. But if this is the card that you're calling out, Play Bike Frisbee, this does seem like a low number to me on this card in such a high grade, in a 9.5 with a true gem, meaning each of the subgrades is also a 9.5. I can't really comment on that, but if this is significantly lower than recent comps, someone is about to steal it or get it at a discount, but I can't confirm nor deny if that is the case. I'm just not sure. So here, let's get out of.
The only thing I would add on that one, Jeremy, is you mentioned at the beginning of this that there are cards throughout the show that we might have recognized popped up on the Iconic 100 list. There's only 3 soccer cards that showed up on the Iconic 100 list. We put something like 20 of them on the the initial ballot, there's only 3 that made it. And the Cristiano Ronaldo, that rookie card, that's one of the 3. It's one of the 3 most recognized, most iconic soccer cards ever made. In a PSA 10, the person who wrote this, in PSA 10 is exactly right. It would sell for a whole bunch more. And so being a quad 9.5, selling for what it's at right now is a significant discount. Now, will it stay there? We'll see. I kind of tend to think that it won't, but we'll see.
All right. Gary brings up a point. He says, correction, fellas, the Z-Pete is the refractor parallel. There is a base Zebut that doesn't have the refractor Pop 18. I'm not sure I followed. Can you explain that, Adam?
Yeah, so he's right. The Z-Pete is the parallel part. Actually, I always get confused on this because they're both Z words. The regular insert is either called Z-Pete or it's called Zebut. I forget. I think what he's saying is the regular card called Zebut, and the Z-Pete's the parallel. Again, to me, there's like a refractor version and a non-refractor version. And one's clearly way rarer, but it's a semantics thing.
I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the Z-Pete is the lower version, if you will, and the Zebut is the parallel version with some added level of excitement to the print process. So I think that's what I believe. But thank you, Gary, for pointing it out. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of that at some point in time here. I want to bring up Nikita makes a comment here. I was watching LeBron's NBA debut yesterday, and during the game, Moses Malone was interviewed because he had lunch with LeBron the night before his NBA debut. Nice of them to have a brunch together. Thanks, Nikita, for letting us know that Moses Malone had brunch with LeBron James before his debut game. CS says the descriptions are amazing in this auction. Yeah, they've really leveled up that game. I must say, and partial props to my buddy. Luke L says, do you guys get the sense that the hobby is slowing down significantly? I mean, not at all. I do not whatsoever get that sense myself. Now, I just came from the Del Mar card show. It was awesome. It was busy. I thought it was great. I heard one vendor say that that more people are looking to trade right now than just buy with cash. But, that doesn't mean that the hobby that things are down significantly. It means that people are just maybe being a little bit more careful because they're being apprehensive because we have seen values come down. But I don't know that the hobby itself is slowing down significantly. I would venture to guess that the number of transactions are still relatively close to what they were, but who knows? I could be completely out to lunch. I don't monitor these things very closely. I just know that I haven't really slowed down, so maybe I'm projecting. Adam, your comment?
Yeah, I would just say, again, I always talk about isolating variables, right? Part of how the hobby works is that when the world changes, there are people who are going to be harmed by that. And as those people are harmed, they can no longer buy cards. That's happened. There's no question. Like, there are some people who aren't buying cards that were a little while ago. As far as the hobby itself, really, like, people, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like cards or whatever. I see the opposite. I think I made this point on my story the other day, Jeremy. I'm having as much fun right now as I've had in a couple of years. I think it's a great time to buy. I'm enjoying buying. But look, I say that, and I kind of bite my lip a little bit because there's a lot of people who can't buy right now, and certainly those people are being affected. But like you, Jeremy, like those people who don't have cash and they still have cards that they want to be able to turn into other cards, that's where trading becomes really interesting, and your community around you becomes really interesting. And for me, that's sometimes the most fun about cards. Sometimes it's not even acquiring the cards. Sometimes it's all of the research and the other stuff that goes into it. But that passion and that level of excitement around the hobby, I think it's the best it's ever been. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mentioned I was at the show in Del Mar put on by the Union Marketplace, and I'm just thinking about the deals I did there. I acquired some sweet cards for my collection. One deal I did was straight trade, and I'm talking about the value of cards that went in each direction was probably about $6,000. I didn't put out a penny, and I picked up cards worth about $6,000. So amazing. Yes, I gave up cards as well. But I did a deal. We both came away happy. He changed up his inventory, and I moved out of a card I fell out of love with and moved into 3 cards that I really like. So that was great. Another deal I did with Sean Price, who should be joining us shortly, was a cash trade deal. He gave me 1 card. I gave him a card or 2 and some cash. So money was flowing, cards were moving, transactions were happening. So anyway, that was my experience. But thanks for the comment, Luke. I tend to see the hobby through rose-colored glasses because I love the hobby so much, and I'm just always in love with cardboard. So that's just me. Take it for what it's worth.
Jeremy,
Luke, yeah.
As you say, I've done more deals in the last 6 months than I did in the last 2 years. Like it's
and you're not, and you can't even transact on PWCC.
So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people are having a lot of fun in the hobby right now for sure. You and I are in the same boat on this, but again, you've got people who can't do it right now. They're used to having cash and they don't have it. You're going to notice that in the world, and it does trickle down to the hobby. There's no question that's true.
Yeah, no, and listen, of course, I recognize that.
Oh, yeah,
some people, but people are still coming into the hobby. So you know what I mean? It's not a fixed amount of people, and we only lose people. We're always gaining people too. We're just not here. They're just not screaming from the mountaintops, letting us know they're coming in. But we definitely know people are always coming to the hobby. Okay, Luke L says, can you guys take a look at the Kobe Chrome Refractor? It's his iconic card. And I noticed 2 of them, Luke, in the auction. I noticed there's a PSA 10, which is right here. And it's at $80,000. And then there is a PSA 9 as well, which is sitting at $17,000. So when you look at these 2 cards, here's the 9. Centering looks very good to me. There's the 10. Centering looks very good to me. Maybe I'll just get them so they're exactly the same here. Let's zoom out. Oh, it's interesting. This one is zoom out there. This one's a bit smaller in the frame, but in any event, I can't notice a difference between the 9 and the 10. The only difference I notice is about $63,000 in price between the 2.
Yeah,
well, look, I got to look for green. Never mind. I have to retract that comment. In the 10, there's very little greening, if any. I see almost no greening here. I don't see any greening on the 10. Maybe a little bit starting to come through on the bicep there, but on the 9, we see most of his arms are green. Oftentimes you see it down over here on the leg, on his legs. You know what? There is greening happening here, Adam, but it's still much less significant than many other Kobe refractors, chrome refractors that we see. So, but again, there is some greening on the 9, but is it $63,000 worth of greening between the 2? I mean, I don't know, because aside from that, without inspecting the surface in real depth, which you can't really do anyway, I'd buy the 9 and save myself $63,000. What do you think?
Well, being that I am on a budget, I would also do that. And also the fact that I'm colorblind and I cannot see what you were just talking about in the slightest also leads me to just go for the 9. But the other thing that I think is kind of cool about the 9 is, look, it's graded a lot later. Take a look at those slabs, Jeremy. The 9 was graded far more recently than the 10 was. And so a lot of these cards that sit in 10 holders now kind of have to speculate, would that still be a 10 if it was graded today? This one may be because its color's so good, right? I'm saying that based on what you just described. I know,
I know where you're going with that. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter when a card is graded. So let me rephrase. Let me start that over again. You could take 100 Kobe Topps Chrome refractors and grade them in 1997, and then take a different 100 Topps Chrome Kobe refractor, or the same 100, and grade them in 2022. You're going to have 10s in both of those populations. So just because a card is in an older PSA holder doesn't mean it's no longer that grade.
That's right.
Now, they may not all still be that grade, because the general consensus out there, the narrative is that they have tightened up their grading standards, which I don't think is a great thing, because it means that not all 10s are equal. And we know that not all 10s are equal just because 10 is such a narrow description. But to know that to know that 2 cards can get into the same holder, the same card can get into the same holder on 2 different times and not get the same grade. That's where, we just have to be really real savvy in our buying and look at the card, not just the number sitting right over here. You got to look at the card as well and be savvy that way. That's my suggestion to everybody out there.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I agree with everything that you said. The thing that I would add here is check the population on PSA 10 Kobe Chrome refractors. This is not a big number. And this is, we talk about the iconic cards list. This card is one that we haven't seen yet. I think there's a good chance we'll see it, being that it is, as the person who asked the question pointed out, it is Kobe's iconic rookie card. It's clearly his most iconic card. And so, given that this is the Kobe card, that it is the highest grade that you can get, it might be in an old slab. Maybe it would or wouldn't be a 10 today if it was still graded. Again, we're not going to know because nobody's ever pulling it out of this case. It's one of very few that exist, and it's cool to see it.
We'll find out. Yeah. Okay. Vintage card collector here. I'm just going to unshare from. Actually, no. What we'll do is we'll just leave it at the top so we can see the bids coming in while we're chatting away here. Vintage card collector says Rice and Barry Sanders 90s insert values seem to be very similar to me. Those two are the top tier. Yeah, that's what I noticed, and I agree with you, vintage card collector, on that. Ken Wood, where have you been tonight, Ken? He says, hello, Jeremy. Sorry I'm late. Well, we'll see if we can forgive you. I took a nap before work because I'm under the weather. Well, hope you feel better, Ken, and glad to have you. Better late than never, but next month, please show up on time. Donald, good evening to you. Gary says, and look, we have our special guest has entered the green room. Sean, when you get yourself set, I know I can see you. I can't hear you, but I see you. Let me know. Put up your hand when you're ready to come on, and I will bring you on. And the hand is up. All right. So let's do this. Let's come back. Actually, we're going to read this comment first, and then we're going to bring Sean on. Gary says, I own both the base Zabu 10 along with the Z-Pete Zabu 10, both great cards. But the ZP refractor design is mind-blowing, states some pack odds. All right, Gary, thank you so much for clarifying. Appreciate that so much. And Vintage Card Collector says, that is very difficult to understand. Yes, it is. There's the quote of the night right there from Vintage Card Collector. All right, let's bring on Sean Price. Sean, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing good. I want to introduce you to Adam Gray. Adam, Sean, Adam.
It's good to meet you, Sean. Thanks for joining us for the show.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. I've been subscribing to your magazines for the last year as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear it. And so is basketball kind of your main deal, or where would you say your sort of like collecting focus lies?
Yes, I'd say my main focus is basketball, definitely. It's always been Jordan, Jordan autos, Jordan rookies. I've really branched off to the Fleer rookie auto now and the XRC rookie auto, which one is ending tonight, so I've been keeping my eye on that. I wanted to go after it, but it's kind of gone a little bit further than where I wanted to be. But
the star, right?
Yes, the star, the PSA 5 with the 7 auto. And yes, I do own one, but I'm always looking to add more to my collection. I'm always trying to upgrade, and I love that one has the Camp auto. That one has the COA from, I think, the 2008 Camp, what I was researching earlier. So that's awesome. And I've also started Chauncey Billups PC collection, which I'm trying to be the greatest Chauncey Billups collector in the world, which I've already have, I think, 5 of his top 6 cards in the world right now.
Including you, I think you had, did you have his rubies in your showcase at Del Mar?
Yes, I have the Star Rubies. I have the PMG Championship. I have, actually, let me see. I have a couple. I have the PMG, if you can see that one, the PMG Championship. It's hard to see probably on focus. Here's the Star Rubies. I haven't even put these on my Instagram yet, so you guys are the first to see. I've actually been pretty private about these. And then, pick this one up in Del Mar. This one was sick. This is second year Star Rubies, if you can see that. This is first Nuggets when he gets on his Nuggets. So I love this because if you know, he rejoined the Nuggets in his second stint and actually went to the Western Conference Finals with Melo in 2008 against Kobe. So this was pretty cool pickup in Del Mar. And then I also have like the Row Zero Legacy. It's hard to see. But yeah, and then the credentials. But anyways, I'm on a mission to be one of the best Billups collectors in the world, and I haven't even showed that on IG yet. That will be coming soon. So yeah. Anyways, I was just wanted to show that off real quick.
Nice card. Nice card. So a couple things, Adam. First, Boston Authentic, our friend Mark says Sean is the best hooper in the hobby, period. So nice shout out there. And then
thanks, Mark.
Our other friend Sean Cates, also known as Victory Investments. I don't know about this too much, Sean, but he says I love Jeremy Adam, but I'm here tonight for my brother Sean. So there you go.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.
Always good to see Sean in the chat and to have another Sean on the screen with us today. So here's a cool story, guys. Sean, I'm gonna quickly tell the story, then you can jump in. But so this isn't really card related, but it's pretty cool. I think you mentioned to me your best friend growing up is the one who caught Aaron Judge's 60-second home run ball.
Yes, he was.
True? Is that true?
Yes.
And what's the dude gonna do with this ball?
So yes, Corey Yeomans was my childhood best friend. We met in second grade, and he actually lived with me for a couple years after college when he was going to WSU Vancouver, Washington State, and lived with my parents. He still talks to my mom almost every day. But yeah, he was at the game. Long story short, that was actually a delay of game. Those three games in the Rangers was supposed to be played 2 months before. And his buddy bought those 3 tickets. And I think at the time they were like $7. Don't quote me though. And so the rain delay, and then they went to the first game. So that was the second game they went to. And yeah, he caught the ball, and now he's not sure what he's going to do with it. He actually is. He's a true, not sports card collector, but he loves sports memorabilia. So it's kind of awesome that he caught the ball. So he really doesn't know what he's going to do with it. You know, he's been hit up by every auction site. Ken Golden, I think gotten a hold of him, but yeah, he's not sure what he's going to do with it. Yeah.
Is he watching right now?
I think he was going to tune in. He's in Italy right now, but I think he's supposed to be tuning in. He wanted to watch me. Yes.
Well, let's listen. I'm going to put in my vote to get it on PWCC so that we can cover it on a future episode. And if we do, he will come on the show. And let me put it out there right now. You said his name is Corey, right?
Yes, Corey. Yes.
Corey, if you are watching, consign the ball to PWCC, and we will have you on the episode. We will talk about it all night long. If you can get it on there, that would be a ton of fun. We'll have Sean back as well when we can, if we can have that ball offered on the PWCC Premier Auction. We'll have a lot of fun with it. So there's my vote. Little selfish because I want to be able to cover it with the guy who caught the ball. That would be amazing.
Unreal.
Amazing. So Corey, do us a solid, buddy. And PWCC will do right by you on that ball. I'm sure of it.
Let me jump in.
Who actually works for PWCC, maybe give you the right pitch.
So let me jump in real quick and just say, like, for Corey, and who knows if he's actually watching this spot right now, but the thing that I would say is it's really cool. He's actually considering keeping it. I mean, that, like, to think that there's somebody who would catch the ball and then actually keep it is really just incredible.
Don't keep it, Corey.
But I'm like you, Jeremy. I'm like you because here's the thing: is that this type of asset, like, gosh, I don't want to say this in a terrible way, but this type of asset, the 62 home run ball, like, it's real excitement and thrill around it fades as time passes. I believe that it fades as time passes. And so the smartest thing that he can do, I'm just going to be real here. The smartest thing that I believe that he could do would be to take that ball and to get it at a major auction house. And obviously, I think that we'd be the best at it. I think, we would cover it and have a lot of fun with Corey on the live show. It would be incredible. I think he should do that, but he should get it at a significant auction house very soon, because the longer that goes by, every day there's sort of this diminishing return. And if his job is going to, in the end, be to sell it, I think he should do it quickly. That's my opinion.
Me too. What do you think, Sean? I mean, you're his best friend. I mean, you obviously have talked to him about it. What do you tell him to do? And you're in the hobby, even though you're not in the hobby of 60-second home run balls, but you're definitely in a very adjacent hobby. What have you been telling him to do?
So yeah, I actually talked to him. I was the first person. I didn't even think he was going to answer the phone call when I called him, but when I called him hour and a half after he caught the ball, he was actually had just dropped off his 3 friends in Texas. He answered the phone call and he said, "Sean," I go, "Corey, was that really you? And he goes, yep. He kind of gave me a little laugh. He goes, yeah, it's me. And, he was just trying to get home and get in his house. He didn't want all the media and everything. And at Truly, he just didn't know what he wanted to do with it. He didn't know if he wanted to keep it, if he wanted to auction it off, if someone wanted to just give him straight cash, straight wire. So I'm actually going to be talking to him tomorrow. He's been asking me more questions on kind of where to go and what to do. And I have to agree with Adam. I'm exactly with you. The more the time goes, the more the appreciation kind of devalues. I say the only thing that would maybe kind of give it a big rush again is if the Yankees win the World Series. That would kind of give it a push. It might be the perfect timing if he does it in the November auction, because that's right around World Series time. So I think it's best to get rid of the ball now, as the hype is at the all-time highest. Because as we see, and you never know, next year someone could break it, and kind of we saw that in the early 2000s. That's kind of what happened in 98, 99, 2000. All of a sudden someone hit it, and then look, that was steroids era, but still people started getting close, and all of a sudden Sosa hit 63 times. And so you never know, people might be getting closer to that. Mike Trout might just come back next year and, hit 60, like he hit 40 this year in 110 games. So you never know. But yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's good advice. I agree with both of what you guys are saying. Now is the time to sell it. Maybe even more. I don't know that the World Series would change much, in my opinion. I think now, the sooner the better, while the hype is still there and it's fresh. And like Sean says, you need to sell before next season, because you just never know. I mean, that record could be broken, and then that ball, it's like Brady's last touchdown. Remember, he retired and then he didn't. It's a similar kind of situation, although it's less likely, but it's still it's less likely that someone breaks his record versus Brady retiring and unretiring. But I agree. I think he's got to sell it, unless he's independently wealthy already, and $2 or $3 million doesn't really change his life. Otherwise, it's an easy sell for me. So, and of course, Adam didn't really put the hard sell on there to come to PWCC, but I will come do it on PWCC so that we can talk about it on this show, and again have you and him on again. And how much fun would that be? Hey, Sean, I mean, if we could do that again next month, boy, that would be fun.
That would be awesome. I have to agree. I do all my biggest cards through PWCC. That's just my honest thing through the last 2 years. I've done stuff through Golden. Not trying to give PWCC a pitch right now, but it's just true. I think they take well care of their customers, and I just like everything that they bring to the table with their advertisement and just all the communication back and forth with your item, your card, whatever you have. I just love that. And so I just did a LeBron James X Fractor last auction, and I was very happy. So I would definitely say that PWCC is definitely the place where I will be pushing for him as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So we're on the same team there. Good stuff. Well,
we are. Yes.
And, no matter what happens, congratulations to him. It's an amazing life event. And I'm sure that it's, if it's life-changing for him, then congratulations for sure. And love to meet him and have him on the show. Sean, are you watching any cards in this auction? And do any of the items in the premiere this month catch your eye? Anything you were considering bidding on? Are you selling anything in this auction?
I'm not selling anything in this auction. I put the LeBron last auction. I'm looking at some LeBron cards. I feel like he's probably my favorite buy right now. I was looking for him at Del Mar. He's an all-time low. I'd say if any collector, any flipper, any person in this hobby, I would say LeBron James, this is your time. If you a couple of years ago, he got really high. I know the records are going to come and all that, but I also think he's not done. I'm seeing him out there just game one, 2 nights ago, and at 37 years old, just doing stuff I've never seen in my entire life. I'm 35 and I still play this game at a high level, and I just can't even imagine he's doing it at the NBA at the highest level every night in and night out. It's just incredible. Like, Jordan's my favorite player of all time, but LeBron is just a specimen that I've never seen. So I'd say right now I buy LeBron, and I own 0 LeBron cards right now. And I used to own more LeBron cards than anything in my collection. It's just, he got to an all-time high, and I just thought it was time to sell. I thought there'd be a chance for, the market to kind of correct itself, which it is, and it's okay. And I think, like Adam was saying, I think I'm having fun that I've ever had more fun collecting Chauncey Billups right now, but I'm looking at a couple of LeBron cards, and that's what I'll continue to look at the next couple of auctions and at shows as well.
Yeah, good stuff. Nikita says LeBron, Brady, and Ronaldo are all good buys right now. And Josh Dawson puts out his stat line, 31, 14, and 8 rebounds in game 1 for LeBron James. It is really impressive what he continues to do at his age. But listen, he's a specimen of a human being. I mean, the guy has like 0 body fat on him, seems to be in impeccable shape. His age is almost doesn't matter. It just seems like his age doesn't matter. He keeps himself in great shape. Like, kudos to him for sure. McDoyle Sports says, hey, gentlemen, I agree on the LeBron. Yeah, good to see. Good to see. Well, okay, now I want to go back in time here. I don't know anything about this comment. It has nothing to do with the auction, but I do want to bring up Bobby's comment here. He says, what's your guys' opinion on the number 1 pick of the NBA who only played 2 summer games because he is so good at 19 years old, from Duke, Paulo Banchero? He is the closest thing to LeBron ever. Goes on to say the kid has no pro cards yet, hence no cards in the auction. I've never heard of him, guys. Is he the real deal? Are we going to see cards of his in the Premier Auction in years to come?
I think with him, the question is like the same thing as you're going to always ask with any guys at the top of the NBA draft, and that the question is he going to stay healthy? He's got incredible athleticism for his size. I mean, he had a dunk in game 1. I don't know if either of you guys saw it, but it was like one of those like jaw-dropping, like, did he just do that sort of moments? Yeah. And that's a guy who's in his first year in the NBA doing that, and at that size, it's really just a rare skill set to have that athleticism at that size. Smart kid. I think he's got a chance to be great, but tell me in 5 years how healthy he's stayed, and then I'll tell you how great.
Your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, so quick, I actually played, or I was supposed to play against him. He played in the Zekin tournament, Isaiah Thomas. He's from Seattle, Washington, and he played in the Zekin tournament up in Tacoma that Isaiah Thomas used to play for the Celtics, puts on every year. And I had never seen him in person. When he walked into the gym, I had never seen someone's legs as big as his ever in my life. And I've seen LeBron, I've gone to games, and his legs were just the biggest things I've ever seen for not being a center, not being like Yao Ming. So, and then I think he has a chance to either be one of the great next, D Wade, LeBron James, one of the top players, or is he going to be Carmelo Anthony? I think he's going to be a 7, 8, 9 all-time all-star. I just don't know which way he's going to go. Is he going to go and be a champion and be someone that, wins 3 or 4 rings, or is he going to be someone that just like wins a couple scoring titles and becomes a T-Mac Melo, which those guys are collectible in the hobby, but that's where I kind of like to go back and forth and like to sway, and I could talk all night about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, apparently you're quite the hooper yourself, so that's really cool, man. Really cool. Okay, let's go. I want to bring up Card King's comment here. This is already from about 20 minutes ago, but when we were talking about the state of the hobby, he says, I'm holding on to my cards. I'm not giving up rare cards for what he calls chump change on eBay auctions. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. And maybe, in terms of the volume of transactions, I mean, not like my cards were going to be for sale anyway, but I'm certainly not going to sell them at this point in 2022, certain cards, because when the market is down, now the market may never get higher than it is today. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen with the market, but I always approach the hobby and the investment side of me from a long-term perspective. I do not plan to sell any of my cards for 20 more years or so, unless I do fall out of love with cards, and then I can move away from them. But for the most part, I want to keep my cards. And it reminds me, Sean and I did a deal. I talked about it a bit earlier tonight, Sean. We did a deal at the Del Mar show that I can't. How many times did I come to your booth and look at that card? Like
4 or 5.
4 or 5 times throughout the weekend, and we finally did a deal. And I think you were very good to me. I think we made a nice deal. But my point is that I acquired the card from Sean, and I'm not going to move it. It's not like it's going to end up in an auction or for sale on Instagram. I'm going to hold this card for 20 years is kind of my plan. Do you want to see the card, Adam?
Of course I do. Yeah.
All right, here's the card. Speaking of PMG greens, well, tonight's auction. It's a Jerry Rice 1999 Essential Credentials, the future version. This one's numbered out of 67. And I just love the card, the gold the gold foil on the name with the shadow coming off it. I mean, Sean, I don't want to talk up this card that you no longer own, but I mean, I love the card, and you know I do. At the end of the day, I think he said to me, "All right, I'll take your offer. I can tell you love the card." Right? Weren't those your words?
Exactly.
Yeah. But maybe I took the weekend to get. Listen, this isn't like a trick of the trade. It's just the way I operate. You know, I took the weekend. I got to know Sean. And it just so happened that Sean's booth was right adjacent to the tag booth where I was spending my time. So it was nothing for me to take literally 3 steps and just make sure the card was still in the showcase, you know? So we did the deal, and that's the card that I traded to from Sean. And I think after the deal, I said, hey, you know, I'd love to have you on the show. I think you'd make a great sort of special guest for the PWCC Premier. And a nice tie-in that your buddy has that ball. I didn't know that at the time. Nice tie-in. Nice tie-in that you like to sell your cards with PWCC. So, boy, can I pick the special guest? Hey, Adam, what do you think of this special guest?
I think you did great, Jeremy. I think you did great. I think that's a great card too. And the other thing that I wanted to highlight is this is something that a lot of people don't talk about. When you do a deal at a card show like that with somebody that's sort of become like a new friend, you've like met, you've talked to, you like them. It's like that to me is sometimes the biggest incentive to get a deal done, because it sort of solidifies like, hey, we know each other, we talk to each other, we had fun, let's do this deal. And then you take home something that you love. It's always hard letting those other cards go. I get it. Jeremy, I'm sure you let go of some stuff that you're just like, oh man, I wish that was one now. But
one of the cards I traded to Sean was a PSA 10 Michael Jordan refractor, the
97.
generation. Say again?
97 generations, yeah.
The
top 37.
Yeah, 97 generations, PSA 10 refractor card. I had to give up a good card from my collection, but it was a card that I've fallen out of love with. I have other Jordans, and I've moved a couple out of my collections in trades, but it was one that I could just see myself move. I brought it thinking, you know, maybe if I find the right card, I'll use it as trade bait. And lo and behold, I found a card that I wanted a lot more. And I'm high on Jerry Rice. So, I mean, it made a lot of sense to me. And I hope it made sense to you, Sean.
I don't know if you remember I have a really good memory at the Vegas show. You really wanted a Shaq I had. Remember the Shaquille O'Neal credentials?
At the Mint, that was you?
Yes, that was me. Yes.
That was you.
Yes.
Oh, because oh man, now I remember that. Oh gosh. So
I ended up getting rid of that at the Nationals, but I always go after the same kind of cards, same kind of sets. You know, I just love all the 90s stuff. And then now I was like, that's why I kind of chose Billups, because I was like, I am a dealer and that's what I do full time, but I also just love this hobby and I love collecting. And so I just needed to find someone that fit me. And that's why I chose Billups, because he's not too expensive. And I won't sell him at shows. Everyone comes up to me, it's like, how much is the Billups? I'm like, I will buy more Billups, but I will not sell it. So,
yeah. And you know what? I remember I dealt that Shaquille O'Neal card at the Mint Collective in Vegas in March that I wanted to get from you. It was just a bit more than I wanted to spend, whatever it was. I'd love to own that card too, but I just want to shout you out. I remember just how pleasurable you were to deal with. Like, you did not mind that I was so on the fence and that I tried to knock off a few $100. Like, you were so awesome to deal with then. You were this time. Like, you're the best kind of dealer there is, because you're just there to have a good time, move some cardboard, meet people, and find deals that work for both sides. And if they don't work, you had no ill will that I didn't pull the trigger on the Shaq. Awesome, man. I can't believe I didn't realize that was you until right now. It's funny.
All good.
That's funny.
All right. Jeremy, I want to ask Sean one more question that's related to this particular auction. He talked about maybe bidding early on the Jordan Star. I think it's a 5 with a 7 autograph. Is it that one? Or is
yes.
That card to me is one of those that. So I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I actually have been trying to get a Jordan autograph rookie card, either a Fleer or a Star. Slim pickings. It's hard to figure out one that's right. There's some reasons why I like the Star, maybe even a little bit more than the Fleer. But anyway, can you talk a little bit about that card and why it's one that you're interested in, that you're like sort of looking to get into, and maybe Jeremy, if we could pull that one up at some point, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So, to be honest, when I got into this hobby 3 or 4 years ago, when I re-entered, I had a really good mentor, which I'll keep his name private, but I met him here in Washington State, and he was always loving the Fleer Jordan. And then he taught me about the XRC, and just those were the first two cards that he just basically, every time I saw him, every card show, he would just kind of give me more and more information about those two cards. And then the more and more I got to know him, I started learning about the autographs and about the in-person autographs and the camp autographs, how they stopped doing the Fleer autographs in 2005 for the number 57. They stopped doing it because there was the lawsuit coming in effect of, I'll tell the story real short, that they started to do the buyback of the 23 cards, where they bought the 23 cards, they signed all 23, Jordan filmed it, put 1, 2, 3, 4. They inserted it into the packs of Fleer that year, I think 2006, and you could get those Jordans out of the packs. And so what happened was those guys started getting upset that he was still signing the Fleer at the camps, and so they actually had to stop doing the Fleer. And so he continued to actually sign the XRC 101. So you could continue to bring that card as a kid camper, and he would sign that one, but he would no longer sign the Fleer. And then there were some gray areas. I guess I learned about this in 2015-16 about a copycat guy that was taking the sticker autos off the back of basketball shirts, and then they would fake the autograph, put it on the back, and they went through, and some actually went through SGC and Beckett, and that was kind of a disaster. And so now just having something through PSA, I think just for me just allows that the autograph is true and real, and that they did their work about the COAs, they did all the backstory. And so there's only 3 in the pop of the PSA. And I've heard they've tried to cross over 30 to 40. That's what I've heard. Don't quote me, but I've heard they've tried to do a lot, and they've just rejected many of the BGS. I've had friends that have tried to cross them over, that they have BGS 8.5s with 10 autos, and they just won't cross them. And they just started doing that in the last 2 months. And there's only 3 right now: 2 PSA 5s and 1 PSA 6. That's it. And I think in the long run, you look at these Brady autographs, the rookie contenders, the championship ticket, there's only 100 of those. You think there's only 3 PSA Jordan XRC autos ever in existence. And guess what? This is just for you guys. There's only 56 Fleer PSA graded number 57s graded in the PSA report. So yeah, that's just my little tidbit. Sorry, I went on a little rant about that, but yeah.
I feel like I saw one of these at the Del Mar show. Did you notice that card there?
That was mine. I own the other one. I own the PSA 5. And yes, so I own one of the PSA 5s. This is the other one. And then I did see the PSA 6, and that does have a 9 auto. It's beautiful. It's a black Sharpie right through the middle. I have seen that one. So I have seen all 3 that are out there.
This auto got the 7 most likely because of the first half of the M here, I would think, because the rest of it looks pretty solid to me.
That's why I love it.
I would echo everything that Sean said, and I love one of the things that Sean said that was really cool is he said in the long term. In the long term, this is one of the more iconic Jordan cards ever made. Obviously, one of his first cards, if not his very first card. And then adding an autograph to it later on. It's already a rare card. Adding an autograph even sort of makes it rarer. And then the last piece that Sean mentioned is having it in the PSA holder now is, apparently there's only 3 of them in the world. The thing I don't want to pick nits on a card, but I actually like you also mentioned that there's one that's in black. I think this card's better with a black autograph because of that sort of busyness that goes on in the middle. And I think this is true of the 86 Fleer too. If I could change one thing on it, I would change the autograph to black. It's nicer on this than it is on some of the 86 Fleer. Some of them, they really get drowned out by the rest of the card, but it's well centered. It's one of maybe like 10 cards in the auction that if I was able to bid, I'd be looking at bidding it tonight. And I think right now the price, it's obviously it's really expensive, 34 plus 20%. What is that? It's like 40 grand, a little bit over 40 grand. It's a lot of money, but I mean, there's a lot worse ways to spend 40 grand on Jordan right now than this card.
Yeah, I agree with what both of you guys have said. The only thing I don't agree with, Adam, is I think I like the blue auto versus the black, but that's just a personal taste. I I don't really like black autos on any cards from what I see. Anyway,
I think the contrast, like you remember the Griffey we were looking at earlier. You pointed out he signed over his leg. There's times where like there's so much going on in the middle of the card that I think the contrast of just making it as dark as possible is nicer. Having said that, 98% of the time I'm with you. I think it's just fair. It's just in some cases I'd rather have it.
I completely understand what you're saying. You're just saying I want to see that autograph.
That's right.
Maybe it's going to be more visible in black than in blue. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. All right, let's go back to. We'll just kind of watch the bids coming at the top. There's the Jordan Jambalaya. Had a bid over there. This is a nice Tom Brady card in the spirit of the 1980 Topps football, the Joe Montana rookie year, right? Look at that, a gold.
Is that the 1/1?
I don't know. Let's go take a look at that because I'm not even aware of this card and I really like it, and it's only $10,000 at this point in time. But yeah, look at that beauty! What a beauty this is. Well, then it is a 1/1. It's from 2015, Topps Chrome, 60th anniversary, Super Fractors, Tom Brady. My goodness, do I love that card. Wow. What an absolute stunner. I'm only able to view it. I cannot bid on it, but what a gorgeous card that is, if I might say so myself. There's the numbering on the back, 1/1. Nice card. Nice card. Wow. There's always cards to buy. There's always nice cards out there. There's no such thing as too much money in this hobby. I just don't think there's such a thing as too much money in this hobby.
Hey, the Rice just got another big bid, guys. 125. So we're looking at 150 out the door right now.
125 on the Rice now. Very nice.
My guess was 220, but that was like 3 weeks ago.
Could still be there. It could easily get there. Do you want me to show I had favorited, I think I have 23 items that I favorited. I'm going to click on those and just show you guys what were the cards that I was kind of the most interested in watching. While that's loading, I want Luke F73. The quad patch nothing has sold yet on the auction. The auction is still going on all the items. So I want to point that out to you there. Adam Hickson made the comment, you could grade the same 100 cards twice in 2022 and have a difference in grades. Yes, you can. That's just the nature of human grading. Nahuggin says, I don't want to bother you guys to talk about a bottom feeder like the PMG Champion, but if you have time. Sorry it took so long to get to that, Huggins, but as you can see, it's one of the favorites that I have right here, so we will definitely take a look at it. But just before we do that, Adam, Sean, the LeBron RPA is still at $750. We haven't seen a bid on that yet during extended bidding. The Michael Jordan Championship PMG that Huggins just asked about is at $240. There's that PSA 8 Wayne Gretzky still sitting at 16,000.
That's my favorite card.
Say again?
That LeBron was my favorite. Was one of my all-time favorite cards. I owned a BGS 9, so I love that card. I love it.
I own a BGS 9. Maybe I have your old copy. Who knows?
I love that card.
Me too. I love credentials. Just like, it's kind of all comes together, right? I love credentials. And even this one that has no acetate on it, they're so to me they're the nicest cards ever made. We got the Gordie Howe 7.5. It's at $34,000. We have a nice Mickey Mantle 52 Topps. There's a Star Jordan and a BGS 8. 18,000 seems a little bit low to me, and this is almost a perfect card to me because I want my centering to be right around 7.5. If those corner a bit higher, this would be the perfect Star Jordan for me. But still a very nice card. Look at that centering top to bottom, though, I don't actually like that. I'd prefer if it was higher up on the card. I don't mind the side to side as much. The Michael Jordan Jambalaya PSA 8s at $27,000. I have an interest in this card, as Adam and I both do. We both own a copy. We got a McDavid honorable numbers rookie year BGS 9.5 at $13,000. Nathan McKinnon often discussed as one of the best players in the NHL. His RPA is at $6,000. One of my all-time favorite vintage baseball cards, the Reggie Jackson rookie. I just love this card. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the light blue with the green and the purple circle with his name. I just love this card. PSA 8.5 is at $10,000. We have a PSA 6 Jackie Robinson. Looks very similar to my personal copy of the card. I also have a 6 that is off-centered left to right, but mine has better top-to-bottom centering. In any event, that's at $29,000. There's another Star Jordan 8.5 at $27,000. One of my favorite cards in the hobby right there, the 33 Gaudy Babe Ruth, PSA 5s at $27,000. I think that's a steal. We have a Connor McDavid rookie year PMG red, PSA 9s at $9,000. And another BGS 8.5, Jambalaya and Michael Jordan at 18. So the 8.5 is at 18,000, and the PSA 8, which is a lower grade, is at 27, 50% higher. So a near mint is what a PSA 8 is, and a BGS 8.5 is near mint plus. So if we're just looking at the condition, not the number, near mint plus sells for 50% cheaper than a near mint. It's people are buying the holders, not the cards in that case, unless you have looked at the cards and decided that the PSA card is nicer than the BGS, even though it's got a lower grade. Kobe Bryant, Platinum Portraits, BGS 9.5s at $10,000. Sean, what are your thoughts on the Platinum Portraits from 1997, I believe there?
I've always loved them. I actually owned a Jordan. I just think the Kobe market in general, I don't think it's more of the Platinum Portraits. I just think the Kobe market in general is just, it's been down, and it's just, I don't think it's even hit its bottom yet. I just think it went up so high. I think maybe Josh from Cardboard Chronicles or somebody on Index showed a thing the other day on Kobe and just how high he went. And I love the set though. I just think right now Kobe's just he's just down right now.
Yeah, and nothing's changed. Nothing's changed from Kobe. How about you, Adam?
I was just saying, in 2020 there was a moment that I don't know, Jeremy, if you'll remember this, but there was a moment where there were some of Kobe's rookie cards that exploded in such an unnatural way. And I'll tell you what I mean. There was like his I actually made a post about it and I called it out, even though I owned one of the cards. It was the Row Zero showcase card. Literally, like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, it was selling all day long on eBay for a BGS 9 was like $3,000, $2,500. And then all of a sudden, there was a 9 that sold for like $18,000 or $20,000, and it was at one of the big auction houses. And there was a 9.5 that sold for $60,000 for the. I'm not talking about for the legacy. I'm talking about for the regular card. And I went out on Instagram and I said, "This is weird. This is strange. I'm not saying it's not real because you can never tell. Sometimes two people get into a bidding war and maybe don't know as much, and that happens. That's a big reason why the Kobe market, when you look at some of what that market has done, when you see those real sales back there in 2020 and 2021, and because like that's where it started, right? When it went up super high, like of course it's come way back down. Anybody who's been in this hobby a long time that saw those prices go way up, like honestly, as I did at the time, despite the fact that I owned a 9, like this doesn't make sense, guys. Watch out here. Of course it came back down. It's not like it's that rare of a card. And so, yeah, Kobe's market in general has come way down. This card right here, though, Jeremy, in a 9.5, you can see right there, it's a Pop 3. It's one of his well-known insert cards from the 90s. Granted, he's not the best player in the set, right? Jordan is. Jordan is the big name guy in that set. But seeing this card in a 9.5, very condition sensitive, Pop 3, if I'm reading that right,
Yep.
None graded higher. That to me, like, I don't think you want to look at an index when you look at a card like this. Just me being honest. Like, this is a card that like a collector is going after. This shouldn't be compared to like a regular rookie that we see sell all the time. This is a different sort of situation.
Yeah, and your comment that he's not the best player in the set, I think that might help it a little bit, because for a collector like myself, if I have the Michael Jordan, which I do, I'd love to pair it with the Kobe Bryant. Or, as I did, I actually picked up the Shaquille O'Neal at the Del Mar show in a prearranged deal. So, I like that thought of pairing up a Kobe with a LeBron, a Kobe with an MJ, or Kobe with a Shaq. I mean, to me, that makes a ton of sense for your collection. If you are somebody who collects more than just one player, if you have a bit of flexibility in your collecting habits, they're great cards to pair together. And the fact that the Michael Jordan in this set is carries the value that it does, you can get the Kobe at a not just a small fraction, but a fraction of that price. And now you've got a beautiful set of cards. But if we go all the way across the aisle to the Playmakers Theater over here, which is a mint 9, pop 1 of 1, none graded higher, it's at $17,000. To me, these two cards are kind of on par with each other in terms of importance, beauty. I just love both of them. And while I think it's fair to say that the Playmakers Theaters sell for more than the Platinum Portraits. I believe that to be the case at the Jordan level and at the Kobe level too. But if you're in the business of buying Kobe cards right now, I don't know if there's a finer pair right here. And let me tell you, I would buy either of these two cards eons ahead of the Topps Chrome Refractor, because the Topps Chrome Refractor, how many are there in existence? I'm not exactly sure. We know there's only 100 of these made, and probably about 100 of these made. We don't know. It's not numbered, but it's a very low number as well. So I'm buying these two if I'm in the Kobe buying market right now. Sean, any thoughts on that?
I agree. I love both those two. I also love the Fusion as well out of the Molten Metal Fusion too. So I was just thinking that card when you were kind of explaining the portraits. The Fusion is kind of on that same level, and with the Jordan, you need the Jordan with that in the set. You can also get the Shaq. So I definitely agree.
Yeah,
I would just add, Jeremy, I like what you said, that you would take either of these. So you'd be in the market for one of these ahead of like a Chrome Refractor. I think that's awesome. I think it depends on what kind of collector you are, right? I nodded when you said that because I agree. Like that's me too. I would go with the rare card that's also significant. But there are people who don't recognize this. There are people who don't know what the Platinum Portraits is. They don't know what the Playmakers Theater is. And to those people, if they want to own like the card that everybody sort of recognizes, I do get why they go for a Chrome, because like that's the card when it comes to Kobe Bryant. It is. It's just that's not sort of how I collect. I pop 3, pop 1, none higher. 2 of, as you pointed out, Jeremy, 2 of the best insert cards of the era. To me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of you made a good point, Adam, that it really depends what kind of collector you are. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm not looking to insult anybody, because we're all at different stages of the kind of your collecting curve within your collecting career. But I find that you come into the hobby, you kind of start with those commodity cards because you see them more often. They're easier to assess value on because they're more liquid. They trade in higher volume, and you just see more of them. These rare cards, people they're buried away for the most part. So I think and one of the natural sort of the way we progress, we naturally progress as collectors. One thing is, as you hear, people come in, they buy modern cards, and they slowly progress back in time and kind of start going towards more vintage. Not everybody, of course. This is not a general rule, but it applies to many. You start with modern, you work your way back. Another natural progression is you start with more common cards like Young Guns in hockey or Prisms in basketball, and then you make your way to rarer, more tougher to find, low print run cards. And that's where these Kobe's fit in, both the Playmakers Theater and the Platinum Portraits.
That's right.
These are for the more the savvier collector. And I don't mean to insult anybody who doesn't do that. I just think it takes time to become more savvy or to have an eye for rare, and just to even know they exist. I mean, that's a whole other challenge there is, especially if you're newer in the hobby. So okay, I want to make a couple comments here. First of all, Tom Michnacki says, love the Billups PC, Mr. Big Shot. So welcome your friend, must be your friend, Sean. Tom?
Awesome. No, I don't.
All right, well, welcome, Tom, to the show. And of course,
thank you.
Friend of the show, good hobby buddy of mine, Gerald Fortier is here. I know that's 50. If you're still here, Gerald, 20 minutes ago. Hope you are. Hello to you. And what's going on with you, my guy? I'm sure we'll see you at a show soon, as we always tend to. Nikita says the Kobe shoes are at $60,000 before buyer's premium, which would be $72,000 after it. Carl Daly talking about that that Tom Brady super frag that we saw, says, I like it in the Joe Montana rookie you're looking. I really did too, Carl. That really turned my crank. Marcus Sport says Mbappe cards are cheap right now, in my opinion. And then David Chow, our friend from Hong Kong, says, buy the card, not the grade. This is the best advice I got from you, Jeremy. There are many great cards in superior eye appeals in this auction, hockey-wise. Good to know. Thank you, David Chow. What else we got here? Nahuggins, oh my God, Griffey is going bananas. That must be
Sure
the
is.
autograph. Is that the autograph?
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, I was going to point that out to you just now, Jeremy. When we were looking at it earlier, I think it was in the 20s, and now it's at 57.5.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
It's
That's
more
not
than, more
it's
than
not
double.
surprising though. It really isn't. It's not surprising.
What a great kind of foresight we had on that card. You had because it is one of those real that to me is a unicorn card. If they're we have grails are all over the place. Unicorns though, that's where the real that's the real shiznit, if I might throw some shiznit language out there. Teapot in the house. What is going on, Teapot? Always good to see you.
Hey.
Says celebrating the last 16 minutes of my birthday with you guys. Well, happy birthday to you, Teapot. Glad you're
Happy
here.
birthday, Ty. That's awesome.
Very, very, very nice. And happy birthday. Have a great year ahead for sure. Okay, I'm going to go to the next row because these were the cards that I had favorited in the auction. I think there were 23 of them. So what do we have? 3 left. Here we go. Of course, we have a Topps PSA 9 Wayne Gretzky. I don't care to analyze the Topps cards as much as the O-Pee-Chees because the printing was just the production was so much more consistent by Topps than O-Pee-Chee back in 1979 that there's not a lot to look at. The oil drop is almost perfectly placed every time. The card always, the edges are sharp, the corners are sharp. From what I can see here at a wide angle, it looks pretty good. Centering looks to be maybe a tad off, but otherwise,
Watch the clock, Jeremy. Oh, there it goes.
It reset.
We've gotten down to 15 seconds a couple times, and that time we got down to 10. So we might be getting close to the end here. Maybe a little bit faster than normal. And I really apologize for jumping in there, but I want to make sure everybody.
Please, I need you to do that because I still want to put in a bid on the card that I want to buy. So I got to make sure I don't forget to do that. Which is not on my favorites list. The T206 Ty Cobb in the green portrait. This card is absolutely stunning for a 3.5 from wide angle. I haven't looked at it up close. Maybe we should just take a quick look at it because it is a beautiful copy. When I look at the Ty Cobb T206 portrait cards, outside of looking at corners and edges and really surface, I mean, look, there's no creases on this that I can see. And if there are, they wouldn't offend me because they're minor. But look at how solid this green background is. It's almost perfect. The registration, while not absolutely perfect, and I can call that out because you see this little blue line by the ear? Like that's, and down the neck, that to me is a sign of a registration issue, but still no big deal. More than welcome into my collection. What I look for, though, is how much room is there under Cobb and Detroit. Sometimes it's half off the card. So I want to be able to clearly see the whole name Cobb, the whole city name Detroit, and have at least a bit of white under it. I'd prefer a little bit more white under it, but overall, I mean, you've got just a gorgeous card here. And I'm going to just say, this is exactly how I want my corners to be on a card from 1909. I want them to have this little bit of rounded. These are almost perfectly rounded, almost like a Pokemon card, almost the perfect, like, look at that. That is as natural a rounding as I've ever seen. You do have some corner surface wear here. You can see some of the gloss is lost. You've got some fray. It's what I want. That's what I want. Exactly. I want this card in a 3.5. You also see, look at this, some of the gray coming over the black border. In a perfect world, the card, the design would stop at the black frame around the card. But 1909, let's face it, printing was not perfect. So it's what we have to deal with. And again, the top left corner, this is almost a perfect card to me. Let's have a look at the back. I mean, it's off-centered a bit, but there must be something else going on to have it at a 3.5 besides the rounded corners. I would think, maybe not, but in any event, PWCC very astutely, I would say, gave it maybe it deserves the top 5% I don't know. I'm sure the people at PWCC who assign these designations know a lot more than I do, more copies than I have, that's for sure. But this is a spectacular card, and I wish it was high enough up on my list to take a stab at it. It seems like a good price too for the green. The greens always sell for more than the reds, which I don't really know why. It must be a rarity thing. Adam, Sean, I've been talking for a while. Any comments from you guys?
I would just say, I love it when you break down some of the eye appeal stuff around these iconic vintage cards. The Cobb is one that came up on the Iconic 100 a lot earlier than people were expecting. It was in the early 40s. I think it was 41 or 42. I thought it was far too low, though. It's one of the best known cards of the era, and I just think that's a gorgeous card. And I agree with you. Looking at it as a 3.5, you sit there and kind of go, what? How is this card a 3.5? And I guess that's what the eye appeal sticker is for. The other thing that I point out, though, real quick, Jeremy, the Trout, unrelated to what we've been talking about, the Trout actually just caught up with the LeBron. LeBron still hasn't moved, which really surprises me a lot. I mean, really. Like, LeBron, I'm with Sean. LeBron's one of the greatest players of all time, and he has one clear-cut card that is the card. And this is one of the nicest copies in the world, and it's not even at $1 million. And so that, to me, is like, I'm pretty downright shocked at this point. Maybe there's some people who are waiting, but if it closes where it's at right now, it is a massive, massive bargain.
Well, I mean, it's at $990,000 right now. The Trout is. Where did it go?
990 or 9?
990.
Oh, it went up some more. Okay.
It's at 825.
It was at 750 last time I saw it. My bad.
Yeah. So it's basically $1 million card now, which is kind of what someone had mentioned earlier that this Trout had previously sold in the $1 million. It was $1 million card. It looks like it's still $1 million card. So nice to see for the card and for Mike Trout that that love is still coming in for him. And there was a comment right. Where did that comment go that somebody left here? They basically said that the card hit basically $1 million. They went on to say it's probably Trout himself that was bidding on it. Right here, Jason Young says the Trout red getting another bid, probably Trout himself going after that one. Which, hey, maybe, and not that you could ever tell us, Adam, but it's something that maybe the PWCC staff would know who the bidders are. And boy, would it be fun if they could let us know that this was Mike Trout, but I know that they can't. So. Cool card. Someone asked earlier to look at the Mewtwo. I pulled it up. It's a PSA 10 Japanese basic at $13,000. Looks to be a little bit off-centered, left to right to me there, but and maybe a bit top to bottom as well. In any event, cool card, I'm sure. I can't speak much more to it. And then we got to talk. Listen, I've been putting off this championship PMG Jordan for a while for no reason. But let's have a look at what this card looks like. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Look at how beautiful that is. This is one of the nicest cards ever produced, in my opinion. What a gorgeous card. Adam, you own a copy of this, I believe. Very lucky to have a copy of it. This is a 9. Looks like the only real corners. Oh, no. We have edges are in 8.5. Corners are in 9. Centering and surface both 9.5. So edges being the weakness, but without doing a full examination.
Check the back. Check the back real quick.
The bottom right here as well, has a bit of chipping along the bottom left side. The back. Bottom looks good. There's some chipping along the side there, a bit minor at the top. Yeah, typical, right? That's what you want. Like, not every card has to be a gem mint card to own it. So I think that's great. I want to just wish Rage a happy birthday for yesterday. Happy belated birthday to you, Rage. Very nice. Gerald likes unicorns. Yeah, no doubt. Very good stuff. And Teapot, I like this. Speaking about the Ty Cobb, he says that card has all the right curves. And I don't know if we could have said it any better than that right there. It certainly does have all the right curves. So, okay, are we back on my favorites? I think this was everything that I had favorited. There were 23 cards that really caught my eye to watch for various reasons. I like doing it. Just gives me, cards. Oh, the Joe Montana PSA 10. This is a card. The pop is like 90 something. I always forget exact. It's somewhere between 90 and 110. And at at $40,000, which is 48. I think that's a great deal on this card because I just think for Joe being, I'm a Joe Montana guy. That's when I was watching football the most, back when he was winning Super Bowls. So great card, great value. It's a commodity card though, right? They're not rare. You can find a nice PSA 9 instead of a 10, but if you want the best of the best, this is where it's at. Sean, where do you live, Sean? Are you in Southern California?
Washington State.
Washington State. So what teams do you support?
Well, we got the Seahawks for football, the Mariners for baseball, and then the Portland Trailblazers.
And the Kraken.
And the Kraken, yeah, for hockey. Yes. The Kraken for hockey. We just second season, yes. So those are the teams that I'm local to, but I don't know if I support them.
Do you have any sort of favorite teams outside of those that you really like? Or
the Lakers? I'd say the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, and then LeBron James. So yeah, for basketball, it's the Lakers. More of just players. Like before, I guess, is the Bulls in the '90s, Jordan. So I'm more of just the greatest, I guess, like the GOATs.
It makes sense. It makes sense these days to focus on that, and I mean, let's face it, we want to collect cards of players that are important. Now, that not to take away from collecting, just some random player that you like for whatever reason is personal to you. That's as important, or if not more important, than just going after the players everybody else collects. But if you are trying to balance out investing with collecting, and you can kind of collect the same cards that you invest in and enjoy it just as much, then you might want to be looking at, more GOAT type players. Luke L makes a comment right here that Montana was traded for $100K a few months ago. I remember that, Luke. And that's, it's also one of the reasons why I remember when the first one to come to auction in a long time, the first PSA 10 Montana we saw in a long time sold for $100,000. And now they're doing, it looks like that 40 to or 50 to 60, 70 level. Again, the world has changed, but it's also nice to know you can pay 30, 40% less today for something than you could a few months ago. Oh, we have King of the Cards in the house. Kyle is King of the Cards. Give him a follow on Instagram. Says, what a production this is. Glad to have you, Kyle. And I know I'm going to see you at the Toronto Expo. He has a card for me. And I appreciate that. It's funny, at the Vegas Industry Summit show, Kyle, I went to a booth and I bought a card off these guys, and they had another card that I said, oh, I'm really looking for that card in Barry Sanders. And the guy goes, I just sold it. I'm like, damn it, I just missed it. Well, I talked to Kyle the next night, and I don't know how it came up, but he's like, yeah, I picked up this card. I kind of said, I figured it was you. He goes, well, you can have it. You can buy it from me. I said, awesome, I'd love to. So sometimes the hobby works that way, where, you just find someone who wants a card more than you do, and you sell it to them. So I'm
Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
And real quick interruption. So two things. First thing is, we've proven this the last 3 or 4 shows now. There's a certain flow that happens with the bidding, and because we can see these cards adjusting at the top, they're not just randomly popping up. They're the cards that have received the most recent bids. I figure most of our viewers realize that, right? Like that card that's right in front there, now the John Morant, that's the one with the most recent bid. Typically we have a pretty good sense of when it's really starting to slow down. We're pretty much there right now. We've had, by my count, 6 times where we've gotten underneath 20 seconds, and a couple of them got right around 10. This is kind of the point where you see it get down to that very last few seconds, and then you'll see a flurry of bids, and then the flurry of bids gets smaller the next time it gets closed, and smaller. They're still trickling in here, but the reason that I mention this is that this is kind of that. I think this is kind of that time. If people if they've sort of waited, I think this is probably pretty much there now. I don't think we have too long to go. And I did so much talking, but I actually forgot what my first point was. Oh, but the Russell got a bid. It's one of my favorite cards in the auction. I love that card.
There's the Russell at 21.5. Jerry Rice, Juan Soto. Bids are coming in right now. Mookie Betts. Look at this. Babe Ruth, a beautiful Babe Ruth card. While we're watching that, Adam, and thanks for the reminder, Sean, I'm going to ask you a question to think about your answer. And because you are a basketball player yourself, and as I understand, quite a good one, of all these young studs in the NBA right now, the Jaws, the Zions, the Lucas, all these guys, the Tatums, and even the Scotty Barnes and these younger guys. Is there anybody that you think is undervalued in the hobby relative to their skill level? And I ask you because I feel like you can probably assess skill level better than the average card collector. So think about that for a moment. I'm going to go through a couple of comments really quickly. Carl Daly says, my collect players are Ohtani, Marino, and Fedorov. I love it. I love that, Carl Daly. Nice to see Sergei Fedorov getting some love. Luke says, Burrow BGS 9 sold for 84. Now it's selling for 40. Same card. And you guys are saying the hobby is doing amazing. Big cards are down 50%. Just because cards are selling for less money than they were 6 months ago doesn't mean the hobby isn't doing amazing. I don't know why people don't understand that. They're not one and the same. You can still have people buying cards. You're just spending less money. That's actually pretty amazing in and of itself. So I'll leave that at that. Teapot says collecting greats is awesome. Collecting guys who get cast aside by most is also really fun. Drummond, he is Drummond collector on Instagram. Signed and slabbed. Welcome to the show. Says let's go Astros. And Luke L says we are almost done. Great show, gentlemen. Thank you for that, Luke. There's the Griffey again. 65K on the Griffey, guys. 65K on the Griffey. Sean, let's come back to you now as we look at that beautiful, finest embossed Michael Jordan refractor that just got a
Love
bid.
that card.
Isn't that a nice one? That's a nice one. So, Sean, tell us.
That's been on my list. That card right there.
Hey, Sean, it's buying season, man. I see that at 35. A year ago, that's a $100,000 card.
I know.
We covered
Gerald
almost
is sweating the countdown, meaning he might have a bid in on something. That's what that might mean.
Gerald, do I know which card you're bidding on?
I might have to go put a bid on that right now, that Jordan.
You can't unless you're qualified.
No, I did earlier. I did earlier, but I haven't touched it in the last 2 hours.
Well,
but no, back to your question. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, well, the question that I posed to you a little bit earlier, do you want to about, what of all these young basketball studs, whose talent do you assess to be stronger than the love they get from the hobby?
That's a great question. Well, I think what's his name, Halliburton from the Pacers. I think he's gonna have a big chance to be the guy. Not a lot of guys are talking about him. He played for the Kings. He's in the Pacers market now. I think first game he already had 25. I think he's going to have a big year. I see him averaging between 22 to 25 a game. He reminds me of kind of Monte Ellis / I don't know. He's kind of a different kind of player. He can shoot the ball as well. He can score. So I think he's undervalued right now. I don't think a lot of people are talking. I just don't know if he's going to win championships. But in the short term, I think he could get a big explosion this year just because he's gonna score a lot of points. He's going to be the best player on his team, and I think he's undervalued right now.
And what was his name again?
Halliburton from the point guard from the Pacers. I think Tyrese. Tyrese? Yeah, Tyrese. Yeah. I think he's a great option. I think he's entering his second year. Also, I think the Magic have a lot of young talent. I would say watch out for Bol. He had 10 points in only 18 minutes last night. I still think the dude can score. I played against him at Oregon in a couple open gyms. I just thought he was the most incredible, most talented player I've ever seen, like in person. Like he reminded me of a baby KD. I just think he just needs the repetition. I just think he needs minutes. I think, even if he's on a bad team, he gets 30 minutes a game. I think that's going to be really good for him. So I'd say watch out for the Magic. Suggs, Jalen Suggs. I know he got injured already, but I think the Magic have a lot of young guys that you can invest in. I liked Frank from Michigan. I forget his last name. You know who I'm talking about, Adam? Yeah. Franz Wagner, his brother Mo or whatever. I think also he's Yeah.
Um,
Anyways, I could keep talking about a lot of these guys, but yeah.
but what
Also,
about
I think
what about the guys that I named, like the big names that are really getting hobby love? Like who's the best of Ja Morant, Trey Young, Luka, Zion, Tatum? That
I'd
age.
say if you really your best investment, make quickest money is a flipper or just a guy. I think Zion. He comes out. I think he's gonna. He already had 25 in his first game. He comes out and he averages 30 in his first 30 games. He's going to be the highest guy in the market. I guarantee it. He's going to everyone's going to go back after him. He stays healthy for 30 straight games, averages 25 to 30 a game. He's going to be pretty hot. And I say his value is pretty low. I just saw an orange. My buddy Mark, he's selling an orange Prism out of 49 for like 15K. That card used to be a 35, 40K card, and he wasn't even playing, and now he's playing. So I think Zion would be my guy.
The thing about Zion is that it's not just even that he'll score 25 or 30 a game, but I agree with Sean. Like the way he does it, he's just a man child. Like everything he does is dominant. Like when he goes to the
electrifying.
Hoop, yeah, you're like, oh, it kind of reminds you of young Shaq because you're like, oh crap, did that just happen? Like is Zion just doing that thing right now? Obviously, there's the injuries, right? And that's in the back of everybody's mind. But if you just told me right now, yeah, he's going to play 75 games a year for the next decade, like he's going to win championships. He is completely unstoppable in a way that nobody else in the NBA is like Zion. We haven't ever seen anybody like Zion. So I'm with you on that. If he stays healthy, and the Pelicans are good, man. They're good. They could be a top.
They are good. Yeah. Yep, they could be top 2, man. Like Brandon Ingram's going to go into his own. CJ's going to be the third best player. That's perfect. That's what I like the Pelicans. Right. What about your Jazz though? I think Jazz looked good first game last night.
Well, I'm hoping my Jazz win one game this whole year, and that's only because they won the first game. Because I'm on the tank for Wembanyama train. But no, I mean. The great thing about this, like we always talk about teams in like these really general ways. The reality, you know this, like any given night, these guys are all pros and they can go do crazy stuff. And so seeing the Jazz dismantle the Nuggets was obviously really surprising on opening night, but like not that surprising just because that sort of thing happens. What I'm most excited about, Sean, and you're gonna think I'm crazy. I'm most excited to see how Towns and Gobert work together in Minnesota because like that's like totally zagging while the rest of the NBA is doing something else. And like Towns can pass. Towns actually might even be, I know he's a little bit bigger, but like he may be a better perimeter defender than down low just because he wasn't a good rim protector. And Edwards, to me, the question that Jeremy asked, like which young guy are you excited about? Man, Anthony Edwards, like if you told me in 5 years he's the best player in the league, I just wouldn't be that shocked. His level of athleticism, along with his strength and his sort of like confidence in himself is like unparalleled. I think that Minnesota could do crazy things this next couple of years.
I agree. I saw that last night. Towns went to the hoop, threw that alley-oop to Gobert. How many times you see 7-footers throwing alley-oops to each other? You know, they're going to be pretty amazing. And I agree. I wouldn't be shocked if Anthony Edwards is the best player in the next 5 years. Him and Luka probably like going at each other as the top 5 when they're both 27 years old, 28 years old. Yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you guys for that. That's interesting stuff, and I think it's helpful because it's good to have. I always like having somebody on who knows the sport, not just the hobby, and that's I think Sean, you bring that. It's like Brian Dennison, Cajun Cardboard. I mean, when that guy talks about basketball, I just listen because I know that he knows. He coaches, he can scout, he knows what he's talking about. So it's nice to have that interest. We were talking about that the beautiful Michael Jordan refractor, the die cut, and Josh Dawson let us know that he's hoping to spend a little bit of his LeBron RPA money on that MJ die cut out of 74. Frankie encourages him to go get it. And Kyle, King of the Cards, asks, where did the Kobe kicks close? I put them up there. And at the end of the bottom line is they haven't closed yet. They're currently at 65,000. Plus 13 is 78,000, Kyle, with the buyer's premium, but that could still change. Every item in this auction ends at the exact same time. That's what's important to know about the PWCC Premier Auction. Once this timer goes down to 0 for the last time. Now, this will reset to 60 seconds every time any item gets a bid. That's how it works. It resets for all items in the auction. So we'll see what happens. It looks like
Jeremy, real quick, we just got down to 7 seconds. I don't know if you saw that. And then the other thing that I remembered that I was going to say earlier, PWCC has enabled half bidding at this point. So, or what's it called? Half bidding has been enabled.
Yep.
Like,
Half
so what that
bidding
means is if you were waiting on something to see, should I place that extra bid? Now the increment is half of what it was, an hour ago or whatever. And so that also is something that we see, we start to see a few other bids around that time because of that.
And I just wanted to refresh my main page to make sure that, because sometimes this page here is behind in time, but it looks like we are not. We are up to the second here. Another bid just came in on this Zion. As we're talking about Zion, he gets a bid. Tends to happen around here sometimes. And we were reset to 60 seconds. But once this gets down to 0 for the last time, this auction will be over. And we'll find out where that is. Jacob S. says those Kobe kicks sold for $33,000 at Random Auction House over the summer. And now they're at $78,000, which is, it's interesting just because we have a comp. Something that I think a lot of people don't really, when we are so married to comps, if we only paid comps, prices would never, ever move. You see how that works? If the last comp is $10,000 and you're only going to pay the last comp, you're paying $10,000. And then the next buyer is only going to pay the last comp, they're paying $10,000. You would never change. There have to be people out there that are willing to pay over comp in order for the cards to go up in value. And when there aren't, then the cards go down in value. And this is a constant cycle. And the cycle may be a monthly cycle, it may be a yearly, it may be an every 5-year cycle, but it's a cycle. And just because cards are down right now doesn't mean they're going to stay down forever. And I think you can take that to the bank. Comments, guys. Did anything I say offend either of you, or you think he's out to lunch, or the chat? Same thing to you. Am I out to lunch on that? What do you guys think? Adam,
I'm always offended, Jeremy. I'm offended right now. I don't even know what you said that offended me, but no, I mean, it is. We see ebbs and flows. It is what it is. I'm just watching some of these bidding wars, sort of guessing at who might be after it. I'm thinking of somebody who was typing in the chat earlier, who was hoping that the auction would hurry up and end already. And I think I know what he's bidding on. I think you know what he's bidding on. And do you know, Jeremy? Do you know what's going on there? Okay,
I don't know. I want Gerald to get his item at a price he's happy with. So I don't want to say, but I wish him luck. But look at that. The Quad NFL Shield just got another bid up to $31,000. And Kyle makes a really good comment right here, guys. He says, you gotta have eyes on it. Random auction houses probably couldn't market like PWCC could. And
that's right. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
No, I'm done.
So I was going to say that, and there's I think that's exactly right, Kyle. You're exactly right. That's definitely true. I think the other thing is that the market moves too, right? We've seen a lot of these higher dollar memorabilia items, and we know that memorabilia is hot, and so you see a combination of those two things. PWCC, has entered this new vertical of sports memorabilia. And, so because of that, we obviously wanted to do a lot of marketing, as we do on a lot of the different things that we do. And so people who would be interested in those shoes are going to bid. I personally look at those shoes, Jeremy, and I think, you're telling me those shoes are from his first All-Star game? Like, that's such a cool item. I still feel like $65,000 for that doesn't that seem low to you, or am I crazy?
Yeah, it does. It does. The only comment I'll make is that shoes. So that's what they are. They're shoes from his first All-Star game, right?
His first All-Star.
I mean, and this is a question more than an opinion. Is there additional value to shoes that were worn in more than one game on more than one day in a game that isn't even a league game? Like, wouldn't your first playoff game shoes be worth more? Wouldn't your first shoes in your first rookie season, or something like that, or the shoes you wore to break a record, or the shoes you wore in your seventh season for 2 months, something like that. Like, I know, look, I don't know how many games these guys wear shoes for. Sean, do you know how many games do players typically wear shoes for in the NBA? Are you aware?
Some players, it depends on the player, to be honest. I know some players that will wear it until they have a bad game. There's certain players that will wear it for a month. There's certain players that will wear one every other game. I know players that will wear wear it once and then give it away to the kids or whatever. So I think it more depends on the player. Back in the day, I know say Bill Russell's jerseys, they wore those jerseys, the same jersey for the whole season. You know what I mean? Same shoes for the whole season. I think someone told me they wore the same shorts for 5 straight seasons or something like that. But that was back in the 60s. So those Kobe shoes, I bet you he probably only wore those for the All-Star game. Maybe other shoes he wore during the regular season, he might have wore more, but I don't know. But usually All-Star shoes from 2005, we'll say 2001, Allen Iverson. I remember the 2001 Allen Iversons. They were the red ones, and they were meant for the All-Stars. They were red. I think it was in Philadelphia that year. And so sometimes they'll make shoes only for the All-Stars. I had a pair of Luka All-Star from his first All-Star game, game-worn shoes, and they were different than the shoes that he had during the regular season, if that makes sense. Yeah. They're almost like a different color. Like Kobe, the 2012 Kobe's have an All-Star. He won MVP that year, and they say they're black and red. They say All-Star, and he didn't wear those during the regular season because they wouldn't have matched the purple and gold that he wore with the Lakers.
Right. Yeah. Okay, to switch it up, the Trout had 2 bids all of a sudden, so that's easily $1 million card now. Makes you wonder 2 things. Number 1, is Mike Trout bidding on this card? Number 2, is Mike Trout watching this show right now? If you are, hi, Mike Trout. Glad to have you in the audience. You're welcome on the show anytime, Mike. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'd be happy to have you on as a special guest on a regular episode of Sports Cards Live, or to have you on next month's Premier Auction. Consider that a formal invitation to you, Mr. Mike Trout. Okay, I'm going to go to some comments now because we've had a lot of comments that are really good ones. Forrest Crocker said, those shoes got a ton of publicity with some sweet photos and videos around them that you don't get from a random auction house. So many eyes. PWCC goes the extra mile. Kyle, King of Cards, says, and still I feel we're low right now. Those are easily 100K, but we will see. Justin Vick says, I am never flabbergasted by Jeremy's hullabaloo. Thank you, Justin Vick. I'm glad I don't flabbergast you. Kyle says that NBA All-Star Game has always been a cultural staple. There's only one first All-Star Game. Yeah, can't dispute that comment right there. Signed and Slabbed says, one thing that makes shoes difficult, they all eventually age and kind of fall apart, and big stars wear new shoes basically every game. Something to be aware of. Forrest Crocker says the significance of the storyline between Kobe and MJ during this game was huge, though.
He's right.
See, I wasn't aware of that, and I think that's really interesting. You're both nodding your head in agreement. Sean, do you want to speak to that at all? Just because you've had less mic time than us in the last few minutes.
Oh, I would just say no. Yeah, that was the first time. It was his second year in the NBA. He was coming off the bench, actually. I don't know if you guys knew that, I think. And he made the All-Star game, and it was Jordan's last year. So it was more significant, or, last year on the Bulls, because he did come back and they played each other on the Wizards. So, and then, that whole thing when Jordan hit the shot, but that's different. But so, yeah, I would say it's pretty significant because it's his first All-Star, and then him going against Jordan, the on the wing, the fadeaway shot and everything.
One sec. I just want to say to Josh Dawson, your Michael Jordan die cut has just been paid for as you got another bid on your LeBron James RPA. Went from 750 to 775, so that's 25K plus a bit of extra juice for you. So there you go. You just got a free Michael Jordan, very rare insert, or almost free. Let's put it that way. Sorry, Sean, to cut you off, but I wanted to say that before the card disappeared from the screen. We are at 18 seconds here, guys, so this whole thing could be over unless we see something happen here in the next 12, 11, 10. Is this it, Adam? I'm going to say it's probably not, but let's see.
Close, Jeremy. Could be it.
Over? No, it's not over. Somebody was waiting for the Jordan limited logos. Oh, and there's See, he can bid more on that Jordan now because he just got another bid on the LeBron. I see how this works.
And so you see 5 items got bid on there at the very end. And so maybe more than 5, 6. So people are waiting. People are watching this timer so close right now. And there's only a few items that are sort of like getting us to hang in here. That Jordan is duplicated now. It was the first one that came up. So that's how we know, like, we really are getting really close to it at this point.
Yeah,
sure. I want to add to what Sean said. I just want to say, Sean, like, everything you just said about the Kobe shoes is just, in my opinion, is just really spot on. And I really appreciate the comment from the chat too. Like, the fact that Kobe Bryant played in his first All-Star game, the very last time that Michael Jordan played in an All-Star game is a member of the Bulls, and that there was that storyline. You know, we always heard who's going to be the next Jordan, Well, there was never another Jordan, but the person who was clearly the closest to it, the guy who modeled his game after him, right? So I think that's a great comment. And yes, bye to Kyle, King of the Cards. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. We'll see you in Toronto in a few weeks. Yeah, and good comments there. It seems like people are just waiting for the last second to get their last bid in, but now they have to wait a minute at least. David French says, can't believe that Montana is not getting bids. It's a football Mount Rushmore card. I agree. I agree. I love that card. Signed in Slab says, guys like LeBron will wear multiple pairs during an All-Star game now. Yeah, that's important to note, that I guess they're just more common now, and it's really for the memorabilia market. That's why they're doing it. It's not like they need them. So it's important to know. Signed in Slab.
Oh!
Whoa.
Oh. There's that soccer card that I thought was gonna blow up, and it's only jumped $5,000, Jeremy. Like, that's one
RPA.
Steph Curry, LeBron James. Look at this. Look at this. It's awesome. All right, more comments here, guys. More comments. Skeppy says, card comps are not like real estate comps. I find it amazing that people try to validate an unregulated market to reliable, consistent sales data. Jeremy is right. It just depends on many factors. Yeah, I mean, really, it just does. It's a completely different market. And not only that, even in the real estate market, there's really only one marketplace for real estate. The MLS is kind of the main one. We have so many different platforms. They don't all get the same publicity. They don't all give the same love to their consignment items. So yeah, it's thank you for the comments, Skeppy. I'll end it at that. David French says there's about 20 cards that are way too low. I'm guessing another 45 minutes of bidding, like that Curry Refractor 9.5. I hope we're not another 45 minutes of bidding, but if we are, we're going to stick around for most of it. And Carl Daly says, I have a hockey card question. Example, 2015 Upper Deck, Young Gun Buyback. It's a 2014. Yeah, I think it's still a rookie card, Carl. It's a rookie card that's been bought back and autographed. But the card was originally pulled as a rookie. And just as we say that we can't believe that the David French says, can't believe the Montana not getting bids, a bid comes in on it.
And somebody used their half bid on that dual soccer card. That's smart. This is the time for the half bids right now.
Yeah, there's the Kobe kicks are up to $70K, which is 84 with the buyer's premium. This is actually a really exciting time right now to see if this thing is going to end. We'll find out. We'll find out any second now, but it could be coming up that time. We've got a lot of people in here watching, so I'll take a moment just to thank everybody for joining us. We got over 100. We got about 115 people in here right now, and it's been a fun one, that's for sure. I'll let everybody know that not this weekend, but next weekend, it's on the ticker right now. I will be at the Montreal show, set up as a vendor, the 29th and 30th. If you happen to be in the Montreal area, come see me there. The website is antiexpo.com. You want the English version, or if you do, /EN. I will also be at the Toronto Expo, November 10th to 13th. That's the big show for me. Sportcardexpo.com is the website. If you can make it up there, there's a lot of hockey, of course, but there's a lot of other cards. And if you can come up there and be a vendor with non-hockey, I think you will be a hit because people are looking for basketball, baseball, football cards up in Canada. It's not just a hockey country. Trust me on that. But I'll be at both those shows, and I hope to see many of you there. Adam, you got something to say? You look like you got something to say, Adam.
Well, I'm just thinking about people who are bidding, and I'm just hoping for them. And that's all. I don't want to say too much.
Do you know who's bidding on what?
No. Not based on any data. I'm not looking at that. I just know people, and I know what they're bidding on. And sometimes it's funny because I'll have two different people who will reach out to me, and they'll reach out about the same card and say, "Hey, what do you think this is going to sell for?" And I just I can't say anything, because I know both of them are after it. And so anyway, that's all I'll say.
Sean, let me ask you what. So you're a dealer, as you mentioned earlier. Are you a dealer for a living? Is it a side hustle for you?
No, I do it. Yeah, I've been doing it for about a year and a half full time. And my next show will be Dallas. I do every Dallas show. I don't think I've missed one in the last 2 years. So I'll be in Dallas or November 3rd through the 6th. That'll be my next show. And then nothing really until January. Got a couple shows in Culture Collision. Also the Burbank show. I'd say anybody that's listening, check out, if you're on the West Coast, check out the Burbank show. It was incredible. It was pretty much like a mini nationals. It was just everyone I knew was there, just talking and interacting and just enjoying the hobby. And it was just one of the best put on shows out there, the Burbank show. So yeah. I know it'll be during Super Bowl weekend, but it's going to be really good.
So I was there too, Sean, and I don't remember seeing you there. Do you remember? I hope you don't remember seeing me there because that was
I don't think I saw you at the Burbank show. Maybe because it was just I was there. I was kind of more towards the front of the show, but yeah, I was there. I saw the whole Kobe thing that they put on. Did you see that? The Kobe room was just the most amazing Kobe room cards I've ever seen in my entire life. You had the green Kobe. You had every best Kobe in the world was in there. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was awesome. And I talked to Rob Veras from Burbank Sports Cards. Saw him last weekend at Del Mar. I'm sure you did too. And
yes.
He's very excited for the next version of that show. Says it's going to be bigger and better. And I mean, they did put on a great show. And I want to shout out the guys from the Union Marketplace who put on Del Mar last week. I mean, these guys promote a show unlike anything. Adam's got his arms up because we're at 8 seconds on the clock. Those guys promote a show like I've never seen a show promoted before.
Oh, the Jordan. I actually know somebody else I have someone else that's going after that Jordan as well. I know somebody that.
Evan Mobley and the show. Oh, and now, hello, Jackie. Nice to see you pop up. For the
Jackie.
Are you guys bidding on your cards? I know both of you had things you were watching. Jeremy, you haven't even told us. Are you winning? Are you putting in another bid? What's the story?
No comment, Adam. No comment.
I might be going after the Jordan, just so you guys might know.
Which one? The die cut?
The gold, my favorite Jordan of all time. Yes, the die cut.
Jeremy, I still am bitter that I didn't win the George Mikan that you and I before I started at PWCC when I was bidding and it was during the live show and somebody just kept bidding again. And I was just so pissed. I was like, come on, let me win this thing. And I didn't win it in the end. So I get it. It's good to not say anything in some cases, but leave it at that.
Okay. A couple more comments here while we're
another bid.
Well, you're going against the guy who sold the LeBron RPA tonight. So
I know.
Yeah.
And I also know a buddy that was actually going after it that he told me that and I was like, I know you're going after it too. So I don't know who's going after it right now.
Dr. J makes an appearance, PSA 9. CS says, love the Trout invitation. Never thought I'd hear that. I hope he heard it, but we'll see. And Dave, I'm sure I won't hear from him. David French says, really appreciate the entertainment and the ability to live vicariously through you guys. My entire collection worth about the same as those Kobe shoes. That's a nice collection worth about 80 grand there, David French. So no shame. And it's not, to me, it's not about the value of your collection. It's about the amount of joy you get from your collection and from being in the hobby. And I would say that the joy you can get from an $80,000 collection It's probably about the same as the joy you can get from an $800,000 collection, even an $8 million collection. It's all what you like, right? So that's very cool still. Justin Vick says, now I have to pay attention to Jeremy and Sean's expressions to gauge whether they're bidding on the same card. We are not. I can guarantee you, Sean and I are not bidding on the same card. Moses Malone with a bid, 23.5. Let's change the topic. Yeah, some nice cards. It's funny, we keep seeing the clock getting to almost zero, and then the people who are putting in these bids on these cards that we haven't seen come across the top ticker yet. It's like these people are really sniping. They're playing with fire, because if they don't get that bid in on time, they're out of luck. Here we go. Are we going to see some new cards come in this time, or is the auction over?
Oh!
Updating. I think it's over.
Moses Malone and Dr. J, the 2 ABA cards in the end.
Is it over?
Yep.
Let's just wait. Yeah, it's over. It is. CS says, watching the clock tick down is excruciating when you're the high bidder, and I think I know what card CS was bidding on, so I hope you got it, Mr. CS.
Did you guys win yours?
I think I did. I did.
You didn't win, Sean. Jeremy, what'd you win?
I won. It told me I won.
First time.
First time winning an item at the premiere. Look, I've even got the pay one up here.
What is it?
Ooh, how should I reveal this? How should I make this? How should I go about this?
You could let us guess first.
Okay. Hold on a second here, guys. Let me just unshare the screen for a second. Let me go to my bids. Anybody want to take a guess? Oh, Signed in Slab says he won one.
Yes. What'd you win, David? I want to hear it.
What'd you win, Signed in Slab?
I want to take a guess for both of you guys. Give me just 1 second to think about this. Okay, just give me just 1 second. I'll figure this out. I can. Okay.
David French is congratulating maybe myself, maybe congratulations, Sign this up. Sean, did you win the Jordan, or did Josh win it?
I did not.
But you bid him up a couple times, didn't you?
I put one bid in. I'll tell you that.
Oh, just one. Okay.
At the end, at the last 3 minutes, I did.
So the card that I won, I placed my opening bid a few days ago, and I was quickly outbid to about double where my bid was. And then when Adam made that comment that we're kind of getting down to it based on the feel of the bids, that's when I placed a half bid, and it held up, and I'm surprised it did. And I got it for 12.5% less than I was really willing to go on it, buyer's premium included.
Very nice. Strong deal.
So let's see what's going on. Signed in Slab says you got to see tomorrow, but yeah, I guess. Okay. David French guesses that I got Jackie. I did not. I have my Jackie rookie. Signed in Slab. Hey, me and Signed in Slab both broke our premier cherry here tonight. He said Jeremy bought the Griffey. I did not.
No, he didn't.
Gerald Portier did. Gerald looks like he won the Kobe sneakers. I think that's what. Is that what we were talking about?
No, I know. Gerald never talked to me, but I would bet 99% I know what Gerald won.
I bet you Gerald won a Jordan, I bet.
Yeah, right.
No, you don't think
he said it wasn't Jordan. I know what it was. It was the Bill Russell auto patch.
That's my guess. I could be wrong. Too? I could be wrong, but I would guess 90 something percent. That's what Gerald.
There we go. Winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, there we go, Gerald. Nice win, buddy.
Gerald, I would have outbid you if I was allowed to. So good job, dude. I'm happy for you. That's awesome.
Nice win. TB12 says Brady cards are really down. Millisod said you won the Jordan Gold embossed. I did not. Paul Santos, no. Well, we know who did win the Bill Russell. Wasn't me. CS says, "Oh man, big night for me. Thanks for your advice on the I knew he." So I gave CS advice on the Gordie Howe PSA 7.5. I basically gave him my approval. I said I love the card. So congratulations to you. I'm glad you got it. That's a big card, and it's worth every penny, I would say. So let's see. Mr. 11 Rings. Yes. Nahuggins finally got a jambalaya back in the PC. Congratulations. Congratulations. Nice to go. You're welcome, Gerald. And the card that I bought. Ooh, I'm so excited. That one right there.
Oh,
What?
there you go.
I told you guys I was all over Jerry Rice.
You did. Oh, I'm
Dang.
I'm so happy for you. That's amazing.
Now I get to put
Oh,
it in fun.
what? Are you serious? I feel like
Well-
you got that for a great price. I know the guy that owned that. He was asking a lot more for that a couple weeks ago. So I think you did awesome.
What was he asking for it?
He was asking, I think, 25 or 24, but that was before the sale of the BGS. What was that? The 8.5 that sold, right? What did the 8.5 sell for?
25.
I'm not even sure.
25.
25. Okay.
It was a record for a Jerry Rice card at the time, and we knew that the green was coming up, so it was cool to see that record. But yeah, this is the night for 90s football, and Jeremy, honestly, man, if the green hadn't been here, there's a good chance you would have been paying more for this Rice. It's going to look great next to your Shaq, is what I think.
Well, that's how I think about it too, Adam. I have the Shaq Red that I got for a much better price at the National in 2019. And so, yeah, I'm definitely going to put those two together. They're become, it's a pride and joy card. And I happen to have some PWCC credit right now. So I'm lucky for me. I'm not, just full disclosure. I'm not going out of pocket. I'm not writing a check. It's the money is already at PWCC. So
Best.
just going to come out of some auction proceeds that I've had from them. So it's really one big trade. I traded away a bunch of cards, and it's a consolidation move for me more than anything. Let PWCC sell a bunch of cards for me and then buy one monster. And I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier.
I know, Jeremy, 3 people off the top of my head who've been in the comments tonight who are selling something tonight and bidding on something tonight. And so what you just described, like that's one of the real beauties of this, is that you're getting your cash from your stuff that you maybe don't need as much anymore to turn it into something that you love, and that's what collecting's all about.
And I just have to shout out Abram Diaz, who was the first, maybe the only person to call out. That comment is 4 minutes old. So before I showed, he did say the PMG Red Rice. I skipped the comment because I didn't want to address it yet, but he guessed when I was asking for guesses. Nate said the Kobe's debut. Nope. Chris Wong says, "Yo, Sean, the Lakers lost again."
Oh no, Chris! No. Oh gosh, Chris is my buddy. Buddy.
Good. Well, he was asking for you about an hour before you came on the show. He's like, "Yo, where's Sean?" I'm like,
Lakers lost again. No.
Sean, we're gonna have to talk about how in the world you guys aren't willing to trade for the Jazz shooters that we're trying to give you. If you'll just give us your picks, right? I just don't get it.
I'm down. I know.
Okay.
I would also like
right.
Jordan Clarkson back too, but
You can have him. Take him. We don't want to win. He'll help you guys. We don't want him.
I know.
Adam Sniden Slab says, "What's your guess for what he bought?"
I have a couple of theories, but I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna give David a guess sometime tonight. But not right now.
Awesome. Abram Diaz says, I don't know how you knew it, but I'm curious. How did you know that was the card? Please let me know. I'm curious because I don't think I know you, but if I do, I'd like to know that I know you. Gerald says, "Grats, Jeremy. That Rice is beast mode." I feel the same way. Thank you, Gerald. Much appreciated. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nahuggins. Doug Brenner. Thanks, guys. Forrest Crocker says, "Are you keeping that Rice in the vault or shipping it home?" Well, that baby's coming home. That baby is coming home. Nahuggins loves the cards. Yes, congrats. Chris Wong is having some fun. Doug Brenner says, "I believe the PMG Green Jerry Rice is the first." Yes, I believe it is as well, Doug. And listen, I'm not in the green territory, but the red card to me, I mean, it's just like, I'm just going to bring it up one more time here, guys, because I think what I love about it.
What did the green sell for? What did the green sell
150. 150 on the green. And I gotta say,
on the green.
Sean.
Sorry, very
quick.
quickly. This is a color match as well, which it has that added aesthetic of the color match, which I prefer the reds to the greens. So it makes sense. But sorry, Adam, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just sort of glimpsed all three of us. And Jeremy, you were about to pull up your card. And me and Sean are both just grinning from ear to ear, because the thing that's really fun about this moment, and we all get this, right? We all get it. When somebody who's like a friend gets a card that they really love, and they get to sort of just be like, hey guys, check out this card that I got. Like it makes you happy, right? It just makes me happy. Like, I didn't know you were going to win anything tonight. I didn't know what the card was, but as soon as I saw it, it made so much sense. I know you, like, this is a big purchase for you, right? You don't buy a ton of stuff in this area. So I'm just so happy for you. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's maybe, I think it's the second most I've ever spent on a card. So that's a big rare, just beating out my Willie Mays that I picked up not too long ago. So yeah, a big card for me for sure. We're gonna go through the top 20, the top page of what the top 24 sellers were in the auction, which David French is hanging on for a recap of the top. We'll do that in a minute here. Kevin Walsh says 2018 Luka Prisms are getting spooky. Gerald Fortier says it's a beautiful cycle of selling and buying. Exactly. Joe Perot says, great show, guys. Congrats, Jeremy. Jerry Rice. Thank you, Joe. Foul Five Ball, also named Jerry, says, what is the Rice card? I do not know football well. It's a precious metal gems. Jeremy. CS had a good time. Thank you, Jeff Hart. Always good to see you. Abram Diaz says, I bought a Rice PMG red at the Union Marketplace last weekend. I took a guess when I saw the green for sale. You did you, Abram? Congratulations. And Paul Santos is congratulating everybody on the night. So with that, guys, let's just run through the top 24 as we like to do. The top 24 sellers on the auction. And I just want to run through them really quick. Here they are. In the one spot, Tom Brady. And these are buyer's premium included. So this is the final selling price. The Brady does $2.4 million, more than double the two spot, which is Mike Trout, $1,080,000 for the rookie out of 5, the red refractor, Bowman Chrome. In the third spot is LeBron James, under $1 million for what is a gorgeous copy of the card, does $930,000, still a boatload of cash. In the fourth spot is Luka, $900,000 for an RPA out of 5. In the fifth spot, Steph Curry. I mean, we're used to seeing these guys here. BGS 95 RPA at a 99. That's rookie patch auto. I like this card. Falls right where I would expect it to be. I think 288 is right around where I would have predicted it to end. Nice card on the Michael Jordan PMG Championship. Followed by a Shohei Ohtani in the 7th spot at $276,000. Card out of 5. That's basically the same card as the Mike Trout, just the later year and the Ohtani. In the 8th spot is a regular Luka RPA from National Treasures, does 198. Contrast this with the card with the Emerald out of 5 that did 900. So 900,000 for a card out of 5 and 198,000 for the same card basically out of 99. On to the 9th spot is a Patrick Mahomes cracked ice rookie auto out of 25, does $192,000. And the 10th card is a rookie year LeBron James limited logos with a pretty decent patch. Might be nicer with some red in there, but still a nice 3-color 5-break patch. Does $192,000. Next up, Juan Soto. Again, these red refractors out of 5, they're all the rage. Juan Soto does 192, while Shohei does 276. And of course, Mike Trout does $1 million. In the 12th spot, a dual numbers pieces, Michael Jordan and LeBron James from 06 Exquisite does $186,000, followed by Jordan. So the Jordan RPA, no bids in extended bidding, does $180,000. We have a Luka Logo Man 101, does 168 from Flawless. And the big brother to the card that I just bought, the Jerry Rice Precious Metal Gems Green, does $150,000. I think it's just compared to what other greens go for in basketball, I think it's a steal for a guy who is a GOAT. 2003 LeBron James Black Refractor out of 500 does $144,000, followed by Mahomes rookie vinyl out of 5, $138. Steph Curry 2009 gold refractor out of 50 does $138,000. Another Luka, this is the RPA out of 20. So the one out of 20 sells for less than the one out of 999. Sorry, sells for less than the one. Let me start this over again. This card is numbered out of 20, fewer copies than the copy out of 99, but yet sold for less. So it's almost like the emeralds out of 5 are highly favored. The natural RPAs out of 99 are kind of second favorite. And then some of these other parallels, including this one out of 20, does $132,000. 2003 LeBron James. This is the Bowman Chrome Gold Refractor out of 50, does $132,000. And to finish off the top 24, in the 21 spot is a PSA 4 Mickey Mantle, $120,000. 21 is a Michael Jordan Platinum Medallion from Fleer Ultra. Oh, jersey number 23 of 100 in a PSA 9 holder. That's $120,000. That seems a little low to me, considering what this card is. A parallel out of 100 and being the jersey number. I think that's an awesome card. I do love this card right here, the 03 Exquisite Michael Jordan Noble nameplate. Says $117,000. And to finish off the top 24 is the Josh Allen 1-of-1 rookie contender at $114,000 in a BGS 9 holder. And there we have your top 24 for the October 2022 PWCC Premier Auction. All right. With all that,
I bet you out of all those cards, I bet you that Josh Allen's worth the most in 6 months. Not the most, but goes up the most.
Goes up the
most.
You
know why? I think they're going to win the Super Bowl, and I just think he's going to win the MVP. So I think he's going to get a big shot up. I don't own any Josh Allen cards, by the way. I just think he's on a tear, and the Buffalo as a team is so good. So I'm just saying, out of all these cards in 6 months, I think that card has the most potential to rise because he's a young guy. It's like gambling, you know, they could lose, he could get injured, that card could be worth half, but also it could win a Super Bowl and that card could go up and he could be the MVP and, you know, everything could be on fire for Josh Allen. It's kind of like gambling, I think.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not going to disagree with you. Of course, he has to stay healthy, but as I scroll through and I'm looking at all these other players who have so much value, so many future events baked into their prices already, especially when we're talking about Luka. I think, and Mahomes to a degree, but Curry's and LeBron's are pretty set. Of course, Mickey Mantle, Michael Jordan, those guys have no problem having the values that they do. Jordan, Jerry Rice, LeBron James again, Jordan, you know, and these guys, these baseball players, not much more can happen for them before the end of the NFL season, that's for sure. So, yeah, you're probably not wrong on that, barring, of course, as long as
injury.
As long as those conditions precedent that you outlined happen, he does win the Super Bowl, he does win the MVP, and most importantly, he stays healthy so that he can get there. Definitely. Chris Wong says the Curry Gold feels mighty cheap, to be honest. Yeah. Josh Dawson says didn't win anything, but happy about my sale and changes lots of things for my family. Big congrats. That's like winning the lottery. Congratulations, Josh, on the sale. Josh is the one, if you got here a little bit late, he sold the third highest selling item in the auction tonight, being this LeBron James, sold for $930,000. PWCC will get some commission out of that $930,000, and the rest will go to Josh. So congrats to you, buddy. Really, really happy for you there. Buzzy says, great show as always. Thank you so much, Buzzy. Josh, you bet. Nikita says Luka and LeBron James, same price. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I agree. That is crazy, even though one is out of 5. CS says, I love Adam's joy here at the end. He's the most excited one here. It's because Adam just loves his friends. He loves to see people. He loves cardboard, like almost like nobody else does. So, and you know, I'm in a bit of shock. It's not often that I spend that on a card, but let me tell you, I don't spend that on a card unless I know I'm going to love the card. And I do think that I got great value. I think that it's a card that I shouldn't lose money on. But again, we'll find out what happens to me in that card in about 20 years from now, because that's probably the next time that card will hit the market. So congrats to Josh. Congrats to Josh. I think this is the first time we've had the seller of basically $1 million card in the chat, playing along with us. So Josh, thank you so much for giving us that opportunity. And everyone's obviously very happy for you. So listen, we're gonna wrap this up. We've been going for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Adam, Sean, let's just get some final comments from you guys in the chat. Thank you, everybody. We're still 100 strong, so get your final comments in, and we're going to wrap this up in just a couple minutes. Adam, we'll go to you for maybe some final thoughts on the night.
Yeah, the thing that I'll remember most about this auction is Josh's LeBron, and I'm being honest. I wanted to see it go for more than this. I'm a little bit disappointed to see where it ended at, but I think that's more of a reflection on the market than it is anything else. It's just a beautiful example, and the buyer of this card is going to be so thrilled to have it. But the thing about Josh's story that I just love, most cards that you see sell for $1 million, you didn't have a collector get into that card, whatever Josh got into it at, and then exit it so high. Usually there's buying and selling, and there's a card doubles or even like goes at 50% or whatever, and that's when it gets sold. It's very rare to have a card that's, I mean, Josh is up 100x. I mean, he's up some huge multiple. I think that's amazing. And then the only other comment that I'd make is somebody mentioned the Steph Curry feeling light. Like, that's a card. Now, granted, it's a lot of money, right? It's over $130-something thousand. That card to me is like the sort of card that I would love to have really towards the top of my collection. And the fact that some of those have come down a little bit to maybe where like some of us mere mortals can actually afford some of them, to me is like really exciting, because that's a card of stuff that I'd love to add. It's a 9, still a lot of money, but like it's sort of reasonable. And so I think it's kind of a win for collectors to have some opportunities at some of those big boy cards, because that is one of the Steph cards, right? Just a huge card. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
For sure. Nikita says, congrats on the pickup. He's talking to me here. Congrats on the pickup. Fair price, all things considered. And that red on red gives the green a run for its money. And I do agree with that. And thank you, Nikita. Sean, first of all, thank you for joining, man. It's a couple of things I want to say. First of all, it was a pleasure spending more time with you at Del Mar than we did at Mint Collective. I like that we connected those dots between Mint Collective and Del Mar, and that it's funny that I came after the same card twice. Did you realize when I was coming at you for this card that I was also interested in the Shaq back at Mint Collective?
I did. I do remember that.
You didn't even mention that at Del Mar, and it would have been funny if you did. But I'm glad you mentioned it now. Pleasure having you on the show, man. You really are one of the good guys in the hobby, from what I can tell. And I would basically vouch for you with anybody who's going to deal with you at a card show. I've had the pleasure of doing it twice. One time we did a deal, the other time we didn't, and both times you were the same friendly person you are. So really happy to have met you, and I look forward to interacting with you a lot more as time goes by. So thank you so much for joining the show tonight, and comments from you as we sign off.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this. This is the first time I've really done something like this. Usually I just kind of keep to myself and just kind of go to the shows and interact with people there. And I do a lot of stuff on Facebook groups and marketplaces on the Facebook groups. That's where I kind of made my start 3-4 years ago when I started wheeling and dealing with LeBron James and Luka cards. But yeah, this was a great experience. Love talking about all the different cards, the different sports, the different eras. It's just great to hear different insight from you guys, from interacting with the different people listening, hearing their input, and then also knowing somebody that, or someone that's listening to us and selling a big card on here. I thought that was pretty awesome as well. I would say, the one of the lowest cards I'd say in the auction, I thought that on my list, on my notes that I have over here, that I thought went really low was the Curry Gold. I actually thought that would have went a little bit higher, especially them coming into this year as the champions, and actually them probably being the favorites. I think after game 1, watching last night, they're so young. It's like, I don't know if you guys watched the game yesterday. They were kind of talking about how they're interacting, their old school Warriors of Draymond, Curry, and Clay, and then having these new guys of Poole and Wiseman and Kuminga and all the, kind of coming together. I just think the Warriors could start another dynasty, and I think Curry might be like I was saying earlier, LeBron's the best pickup and like the lowest, but I think Curry has so much potential to keep winning championships and keep continuing to his greatness of what he's already done. So I would say that Curry card went pretty low, and I think that was a great buy for whoever got it, because I think the Warriors are hands down the best team in the NBA, to be honest, and I wouldn't be surprised they win it again and they started another dynasty. So that's who I'm after right now, some Curry stuff, even though I know probably not the greatest time to buy, but you got to buy at some point. So yeah,
but it's better to buy him now than it was a year ago, and better to buy him now than it was last December. So
yep.
Right. I mean, I would say that, but it is a beautiful card. This again, this guy right here. It is a gorgeous card. I love it. And as my friend Joe Perot, who is a huge Warriors fan, he goes to a lot of the games. He's always been telling me to get myself into a Curry card. I just haven't been able to do it yet for various reasons. But one of these days, months or years, I'm sure that I will. So CS says, thanks, gents. Love the personal input from Sean. Fun stuff. I don't know if I read that one already. I might have. Chris Wong says, looking at the Curry closely, it can be a 9.5. Just take some kahunas. Yeah, that it certainly would. Signed and Slab says, Sean is great. Y'all find that dude some Billups. Yeah, for sure. Josh, you might be gone by now, but thanks again, Josh, for joining us. And David French says the Curry refractor was so incredibly low. The base chrome 9.5 was $25K not too long ago. I really believe he is the best investment in American sports. Right. David French, thank you for that. All right, guys. And with that, we are going to wrap up. If you're still with us, you can follow the three of us on Instagram. It's on the ticker right now. Adam at the Real 27 Guy, Sean at NW_cardboard, and myself at JLee_sports cards live. Sign and Slab says the E121 Ruth was light. Someone got a really nice win there. I'm sure they did. And Josh says, Adam, please make it to the Mint Collective to hang with me and Jeremy. Yeah, you'll have to come. If nothing else, you'll be there representing PWCC. So we'll see you there next time, Adam. Definitely hope you are. Sean, I know you'll be at the Mint Collective next time. I'm sure I'll see you before then. Burbank is probably a definite guarantee. We'll see you there. That is it, everybody. Thank you, everyone who joined with us for this 3.5-hour live stream covering the Premier Auction. Great time. Bit of an extra fun for myself to actually pull a card out of this thing tonight. And thanks to Adam, my longtime co-host, and thanks to you, Sean, for being our special guest this time. We'll definitely have you back.
Thank you. I loved it.
Stay put there, you guys, for 1 minute. With that, everybody, this episode is over. We will see you next time. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you.